Infinite projection room begins with the projection of Ultron's world destruction. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 201 Wanda's Insights. Loki, that guy must be talking nonsense. How could he willingly give up the right to control a timeline like this? Strange. No, Loki, what Kang said is very likely true. Strange. If you want to wear the crown, you must bear its weight first. Strange. Controlling the timeline seems to be a great power, but the responsibility is also great. Strange. Maintaining this single timeline is not something that ordinary people can do. It requires wisdom, courage, and a series of other qualities. And the time is not short. According to Kang, he has been rushing for at least 1,000,000 years. Strange. He is about to collapse. Wolverine, are you exhausted? Wolverine, I will have some experience when the time comes. Ultraman Hickory, Ace, I seem to understand why the king is slacking off all day long. Ultraman Ace, it can't be said to be slacking off. The main reason is that we maintain order, and the king doesn't need to take action for small matters. Ultraman Hickory, but with this association, it's more like that. The Kingdom of Light. The King of Ultra was also stunned when he saw the conversation between the two. After thinking about it carefully, it's true. They are both in a place, isolated from the world, and they both have a group of minions to help maintain order. The only difference is that I don't have a strong enemy to avoid, and I don't have to do things like cutting the timeline. In other words, I will only take action when there is a problem that they can't solve. Feeling the gazes of the people on him, the King of Ultra didn't say much. I, the King of Ultra, act on my own. Why should I explain to others? The video continues. You can tell the people there who they are and the meaning of everything they do. You treat everyone's lives as a joke. I'm not targeting anyone, this is just the most effective way. But I feel it's targeted. Hearing Sylvie's words, Kang finally couldn't stand it. Grow up. Kang roared angrily. Grow up, grow up, grow up. Sylvie, grow up. Murderer. Hypocrite. None of us three are good people. We have all done terrible, horrible things. But now, you, have the opportunity to do some good things. In the screening room. So the next story is that Loki and Sylvie took over the Time Management Bureau, a story about working together to manage the timeline and living a happy life. Tony thought about it and said, for a story, it doesn't seem bad. Will they really take over? That's even worth thinking about. Will Loki refuse this power? Loki snorted coldly, and the mortal was right at that time. Loki, regardless of whether to kill this Kang or not, there are countless Kangs and countless monsters in the multiverse. Instead of killing him for the sake of pleasure, it is better to take over the Time Management Bureau directly and turn this organization into your own power. Wanda, my god, a timeline controlled by Loki, the people on that timeline will definitely be in trouble. Loki, what are you talking about, girl? I will definitely master this power and turn it into a force for good. Wanda, Loki, everyone here knows you very well. You don't have to pretend. Really? Wanda, do you think people here are stupid enough to believe your nonsense? Exclamation mark. Wanda, I see that the first thing you will do after taking office is to hang your portraits and statues all over the Time Management Bureau. Then let every node on the timeline be hung with your statues. Wanda, at most, add Sylvie's. Loki, I never underestimate the stupidity of human beings. Tony Stark, I suddenly understand why President Loki appeared. Wang, don't say, I think Loki is much better than our current president. At least Loki won't have diarrhea in public. The video continues. Kang finished his mouth cannon and was confidently waiting for the two people's response. Just then, thunder sounded, and Kang's face changed from full of confidence at the beginning to extremely confused. He picked up the apple core and threw it on the table. At this moment, the screen began to flicker. The Scarlet and original images alternated back and forth. Soon, the screen returned to normal. We have crossed a threshold. Kang said dully, I can't see the future. Loki, what the hell? I will be the one to take over the Time Management Bureau soon. Wanda, are you really sure you can take over the Time Management Bureau? Loki, of course. Wanda, what about Sylvie? Loki, she must have taken over the Time Management Bureau with my isotope. Sylvie is also a Loki. As a high-level Loki, I certainly understand these low-level Lokis. Wanda, you are wrong. Very wrong. Wanda, Loki and Sylvie before might have taken over the Time Management Bureau because they couldn't kill Kang, but now if Kang can't see the future, then Sylvie will have the opportunity to kill Kang, and she will definitely kill Kang. Peter Parker, but if Kang's words are true, killing him will only attract more evil Kangs, and their universe will be plunged into war. Wanda, Sylvie won't care. Wanda, Sylvie is different from Loki. Although Loki suffered a lot at the hands of the Time Administration, his hatred for the Time Administration is far less than that of Sylvie. Wanda, what is the suffering that Loki has endured compared to Sylvie? Sylvie was abducted from her parents by the Time Administration when she was very young and began her journey to the ends of the earth. Wanda, this is the end of the earth. This hatred cannot be washed away even by the water of the entire multiverse. Wanda, for Sylvie, she doesn't care about any multi-dimensional crisis or enemies from other worlds. She will never care. All she wants is to kill Kang and get revenge. Wanda, I even suspect that, except for her love for Loki, everything else Sylvie has is built of hatred. Wanda, Sylvie is definitely not a saint who can let go of hatred for the sake of all living beings. On the contrary, as Loki's counterpart, Sylvie must have Loki's characteristics. She must have similarities with Loki in her bones. Maybe it's because of my prejudice against Loki. I don't think Loki is such a great person. Wanda, maybe this is just my sixth sense as a woman, but I do have a hunch. Do you want to make up for WandaVision in this live broadcast? Hurry up, brothers, answer quickly. The fourth live broadcast is about to end. Chapter 202 The Disappearing Sister and Brother. Alfred, hatred is a double-edged sword. It can bring great power to a person, but it can also lead that person into the abyss of destruction. Alfred, although Sylvie is extremely calm, I can see her hidden anger. Alfred, at this moment, Sylvie is like a volcano that has been pent up for a long time and is about to erupt. As long as there is an opportunity, it will erupt completely. 1. Compared with Sylvie, I care more about another thing, that is, the scarlet picture that appeared before. 1. That scarlet color makes me feel fear instinctively. Wanda, I think that color is quite similar to my chaos magic. 1. Chaos magic? Could it be that the god of the underworld, Sithan, took action at that moment? Strange. If it is really Sithan, then it is indeed possible that the timeline will collapse and hinder Kang from peeping into the future. Of course, this is just my guess. Strange. Our strength and knowledge are still too poor. Once it involves a cosmic matter, we will start to be blinded. Peter Parker, did Sylvie really kill Kang? If she did, the entire timeline would be dragged into the flames of war. Tony Stark, child, remember that human thinking is divided into emotional and rational ways. Most women are emotional creatures. They are more impulsive, more likely to get carried away, and more likely to be emotional. Moreover, such a deep hatred, even I may not be able to endure it, let alone Sylvie. Holy Lord, humans attack their own guardians because of their own selfish desires and finally cause the whole world to suffer. I didn't expect that I could see this story in other worlds. Constantine, you can't say that. We haven't determined what your situation is yet. Holy Lord, just kidding. Why should I, the Holy Lord, explain my actions throughout my life to you humans? Avengers building. Everyone was once again glad that they had two high-end combat forces here. Sorcerer Supreme, that scarlet magic, is it Sithan? Odin was shocked. Sithan, the god of the underworld, the god of black magic, is a terrifying figure whose movements would shake the multiverse. Sithan is unlikely to appear. I prefer it to be Wanda. Wanda? The girl chosen by Sithan? What? Nick Fury was shocked. According to the information they collected, Wanda's ability was strange, but not very strong. At most, it was mental control and manipulation of objects. After obtaining first-hand information from the screening room, Wanda's level was upgraded 3 levels, becoming a dangerous person at the same level as the Sorcerer Supreme and the God King Odin. This powerful superpower who can throw a 10,000-ton ship as a plate is worthy of attention at this level. But according to these two people, this Wanda actually has the ability to manipulate time. In that case, it is reasonable that Wanda and Quicksilver cannot be detected. Captain America took out a tattered life detector that looked like it was recycled from a scrapyard. The effect of this thing was indeed good, but he just couldn't find Wanda and Quicksilver. He had used this device to find Bucky. He had met Bucky before, but because he and Tony broke up in another universe, Captain America instinctively didn't let Bucky and Tony meet. Steve, Odin said, the effect of this equipment in your hand is so strong that I have never seen it in my life. There is no artifact comparable to it in the 9 realms. It's a pity that the use time is too short. Captain America sighed. This thing is really easy to use, and it consumes power very quickly, and there is no way to charge it anyway. It must use the so-called special charger. This unscientific and non-magical thing, whether it is Tony, Ancient One or Odin, is confused. Damn it. Nick Fury was a little impatient. Letting such a dangerous person out and being completely unaware of his actions. Then tell me, how strong is Wanda to be able to block all of our searches? As soon as this was said, everyone fell into deep thought. Odin asked Heimdall to look, but couldn't find her. Ancient One personally used magic to search, but couldn't find her. Tony's satellite detection couldn't find her. Captain America's life detector only had 10% of its power left, but still couldn't find her. They used magic, technology, manpower, and even memes, but couldn't find Wanda and her brother. It was as if they had completely disappeared from the earth. Do you think there is no Wanda and Quicksilver in our world at all? They are just the product of our imagination created by the power of the Mind Stone and the impression of the screening room. Hawkeye made an interesting guess. The video continues. I just said I knew how everything would turn out, but I was lying. Kang suddenly changed his words and said, I know everything. I did know everything up to a certain point. That point was about 10 seconds ago. At the same time, the complete circular timeline outside began to give birth to countless time branches. The sacred timeline was collapsing. I don't know anything now. I don't know where to go next. While speaking, Kang kept looking at the surrounding environment, as if he had never seen the scenery of his office before. I'm honest. That's it? Loki asked in confusion. Is this the end of time? You just sit there freely and let us decide your fate. That's right. Kang heard Loki's words and said excitedly, yes, what bad things can happen? You can choose to take over and continue my life's work, or stab me to death with a sword, and then countless me. Another multiverse war will begin, and I will eventually return here. Kang said with a smirk, this is reincarnation, baby. This sentence, Kang was obviously talking to Sylvie. No, this is another lie, another kind of manipulation behind the scenes. Oh, Kang dragged out a long tone, no lies, no manipulation. Seeing that Sylvie still thought he was playing tricks, Kang chose a more direct way to prove it. He took off his time controller directly. I like this. Kang put the time control watch on the table and seemed to enjoy this feeling of powerlessness. You all seem to want to watch WandaVision. Okay, then add it. WandaVision also perfectly fits the theme of the magical journey. It's just a pity for those who have always wanted to watch Ultraman. You may have to wait for a long time. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 203 Sylvie's Decision. I like this feeling. Kang pushed his watch forward. This honest feeling. I feel like this is a brand new beginning. The air in the room seemed to freeze. Maybe it was a long time later. Maybe it was the next second. Sylvie suddenly jumped up and slashed at Kang with a knife. Fortunately, Loki was quick-eyed and grabbed Sylvie. What are you doing? Sylvie put the knife on Loki's neck with her backhand, forcing Loki to step back step by step. Wait a minute, let's talk first. Seeing the two of them fighting in an instant, Kang was very happy. This feeling of not knowing the script before watching the movie and being able to enjoy the movie process is really great. Let's end it all. How about killing him? After saying that, Sylvie continued to kill Kang with a knife, and Loki saw this and even used magic, a telekinesis magic, to pull Sylvie back. At this moment, Sylvie was a little bloodthirsty. Loki had prevented her from killing her enemies time and time again. Sylvie became angry and chopped at Loki's head with a knife. Loki dodged sideways and then continued, "What if what he said is true? So what? I believe him." Believe in what? A bunch of weirdos will appear just because we give people free will. He's a liar. Loki. Me too. Loki said, "I don't think he lied, at least not in this matter." Crazy, isn't it? But maybe he is telling the truth. Just then, Kang continued to add fuel to the fire. It's better to do it as soon as possible. The timeline has begun to branch. So what do you want to say? I see, you are planning to sit on his throne, right? Sylvie suddenly realized, her face covered with disappointment and sadness. She said, "I should have known." "No, that's not the case." Loki explained hurriedly. "No, I don't believe you. Sylvie, the universe is balanced. Everything we know is true. Everything." Loki explained hurriedly. "I know it was the time administration that hurt us, but if we kill him, things might get worse. My suggestion is to think about it. I swear from the bottom of my heart, I assure you, that I have absolutely no intention of coveting his power." Listening to Loki's heartfelt words, Sylvie just smiled coldly. She didn't believe Loki's words at all. "I'm really crazy to believe you. So this is all a scam, right? Really? Is this what you think of me? After everything we've been through together?" The sad Loki pointed to his chest. He laughed in anger. "The evil plan of the evil Loki has finally succeeded. You never trusted me, right? What's the point? Don't you understand? This is more important than what we've experienced. Then why can't we reach an agreement? It's simple, because you can't trust others, and I can't be trusted. I think we are at a stalemate." After failing to reach an agreement, the two Lokis started fighting again. Magic, martial arts, physical skills, all that can be used are used. Sylvie is really angry and is ruthless everywhere, while Loki is just resisting, not actively attacking. And Kang is just watching the show, just about to go up and fan the dark wind and light the ghost fire. The whole world is in chaos. After a chaotic battle, Sylvie finally seized the opportunity, leaped up and slashed at Kang with a knife. At this critical moment, Loki suddenly used magic and appeared under Sylvie's knife. He used his body to block his blade. Dang. Loki threw away the knife in his hand, trying to stop Sylvie's attack with his own life. "Stop, stop, stop." Loki threw away his weapons and grabbed Sylvie's shoulders, comforting her. "I don't want to hurt you, and I don't want any power. I just want you to be safe and sound." Under Loki's persuasion, Sylvie threw away the long knife and kissed Loki. At this moment, the atmosphere reached its peak. I don't know if those two words can be typed. The music played. Sylvie was moved by Loki and let go of her hatred, and Kang ate a few bowls of dog food in the back. This story finally ended perfectly according to this writing method. It's a very cliched story, but the overall feeling is still very good. Tony commented while chewing on a hamburger, "It would be exciting if Sylvie still kills Kang later." No way. This is obviously the finale. Silly boy, do you really think this is a movie? Tony said with a smile. Although the subsequent plot is indeed like this, and it's not bad, but these are Loki's counterparts. These are a group of living people. This is reality. Reality is much more magical than novels. Loki, it's impossible to solve it. The biggest spiritual pillar for that woman to live to this day is revenge. Maybe she really fell in love with that low-level Loki, but how can a little love dispel her will for revenge? Loki, love can save everything? Nonsense. Peter Parker, no way. It's been made so clear. Is it possible that Sylvie still has to risk putting the lives of the entire timeline in danger to kill Kang? Bruce Wayne, child, remember, not everyone can have the determination to give up their desires for the sake of everyone in the world. That is, to give up their own small love for the sake of the great love of the world. Bruce Wayne, it's easy to say, but it's too difficult to do. Strange. Yes, you can imagine how much anger Sylvie has accumulated over the past 1,000 years. She said before that she is older than Loki and she was just a girl when she was captured. Even if Asgardians grow and develop slower than Earthlings, let's assume that she was 100 years old when she was captured. Loki, how old are you this year? Loki, 1532. Strange, that's at least 1,300 years of avoiding being hunted down. At this moment, the screening room, that hadn't opened the Q&A for a long time once again bubbled up. Question, what will Sylvie do next? This question is a single choice mode. If you answer correctly, you will be awarded 10 points. If you answer incorrectly, you will draw a penalty card. Brothers, I'm a complete newbie. I have never watched any Knight Rider series. I have only known some of the Knight Rider series and some Knight Rider series, such as the first Knight Rider series, V3, Kabuto, and Kuuga. So which Knight Rider series should I watch to get started? Chapter 204 Death of Yasuoki. A. Give up revenge and live with Loki to manage the Time Management Bureau together. B. Give up revenge, give birth to 2 sons and a daughter with Loki, live a life with a husband and children, but do not manage the Time Management Bureau. C. Go to love, take advantage of Loki's relaxation of vigilance, to stab Loki to death, and then kill Kang. D. Give up revenge, but Sylvie still leaves Loki in despair and leaves the Time Management Bureau to Loki. E. Sylvie kills Kang, but does not kill Loki, just finds a way to avoid him. F. Reversely talk back to Loki and kill Kang together with Loki. Start answering in 3 minutes. What do you think? Peter said, for me, I prefer A or B. These are the 2 best endings. Wanda, no, Sylvie will never give up revenge, so A, B, D are impossible. Wanda, I know the obsession of revenge very well, because I have experienced it before. Sylvie has devoted her life to overthrowing the rule of the Time Management Bureau. It is impossible for her to sit in that position herself, let alone push Loki to it. Tony, Captain America, revenge on Tony. Wanda, yes, Captain, I told you. Captain America, really? Peter Parker, so there can't be a happy ending? Wolverine, do you think it will be C? Sylvie killed both of them. Loki, C is also very likely. Loki, that woman is also Loki. I know very well that, if I were in that woman's position, I would definitely choose revenge or power, so B is absolutely wrong. Loki, in a rage, Sylvie went on a killing spree for revenge, and it is normal for her to kill that low-level Loki. Peter Parker, this is too scary. The 2 of them just. Tony Stark, boy, don't underestimate women. They can do anything when they are angry. Loki, that's right. C is also very likely. Everyone discussed this seemingly simple topic. Loki's character is revengeful and mysterious, and now they are facing a female Loki Sylvie, which adds to the mystery of the situation that is already difficult to analyze. The question now is whether Sylvie killed Loki for revenge, or whether Loki was blinded by love and helped Sylvie to continue committing crimes. Of course, there are also people like Peter who have fantasies about a happy ending. Time is up. Start answering questions. Wanda, I choose E. Wanda answered correctly, and she will be awarded 10 points. Loki, damn kid. Aren't you going to stop participating in the quiz? Wanda, why don't you want the points you picked up for free? I won't take the risk of the hell card, but I can certainly try this pain card. Anyway, it won't be a big deal. Loki, okay, then I wish you get the bald card next time. Let your hair fall out. Wanda, how can you issue such a vicious curse to a girl? Then I wish you will experience 1,000 fatal blows next time. The video continues. Loki and Sylvie kissed each other. Kang was very curious about this dog food and watched them kiss seriously. The next second, Loki and Sylvie separated, and Sylvie's face was still a little red. Just when Loki thought that this matter was settled, Sylvie suddenly said, "But I'm not you." After that, Sylvie opened the time portal, and a wave of energy shocked Loki into the portal. On the other side of the portal was the Time Management Bureau. After passing through the portal, Loki turned over several times in a mess. He wanted to rush into the portal again, but it was too late. The portal closed in front of him. Loki's face was full of sadness, and he stood there blankly. He had a premonition that, if there was no accident, he would never see Sylvie again in his life. No. Wanda's heart was broken when she saw this scene. Answering questions by ghosts, seeing the truth is seeing the truth. She is a big fan of Loki and Sylvie. Seeing that lovers cannot be together, Wanda is still unwilling to accept this reality. Vision, do you think you will leave me one day? Wanda asked suddenly. Me. Vision was stunned. He held Wanda's hand and said, of course not. Really? Yes, I'm a mechanical body, and I will definitely live longer than you. Although I got a satisfactory answer, why do I always feel that something is wrong? Then if one day you have to choose between justice and me, which one will you choose? You. Vision said without hesitation, I will choose you. Wanda smiled slightly and kissed Vision. In the dungeon of Asgard, Loki breathed a sigh of relief. This female version of himself was finally not crazy enough to kill her husband to prove his truth. But he soon thought of another thing. That is, the female Loki threw the low-level Loki back to the Time Management Bureau. This is interesting. Loki showed his classic evil smile. In the screening room, Sylvie threw Loki back to the Time Management Bureau. Several people thought of one thing in an instant. See, this is Sylvie's last gift to Loki. What? Sylvie threw Loki back to the Time Management Bureau because she wanted to kill Kang, and after killing Kang, the Time Management Bureau would fall into a state of disarray. This is Sylvie's parting gift to Loki, an entire Time Management Bureau. Sylvie should think that Loki still wants the Time Management Bureau, so she plans to send Loki to the throne. Otherwise, she would not deliberately throw Loki into the Time Management Bureau, but choose a suitable timeline. But can the Time Management Bureau still control the timeline after losing Kang's protection? I think Loki may really want to live a stable life with Sylvie. Maybe the current Time Management Bureau is not so important to Loki. Aren't these two people torturing each other? Alas, lovers are hard to get married. The video continues. After sending Loki away, Sylvie stood there with a sad face, and the time controller in her hand gradually dimmed. Just now, when Loki wasn't paying attention, she picked up the time watch that Kang had thrown from the table. Seeing this, Kang, who was sitting on the chair, said with admiration, "It's wonderful." Obviously, Sylvie didn't hurt Loki just now, but eliminated this obstacle, which made him very impressed. Hearing Kang's speech, the tenderness on Sylvie's face completely disappeared. Instead, there was a cold murderous intent. With a swish, Sylvie conjured a long knife. She walked towards Kang step by step, waved her hand casually, and used magic to throw the desk in front of Kang to the side. Kang was first startled by Sylvie's magic, and then laughed. Sylvie walked in front of Kang with a murderous look on her face, holding a sharp blade, and asked coldly, "Aren't you going to ask me to spare your life?" Faced with Sylvie, who was full of murderous intent, Kang's expression was very complicated. Excitement, nervousness, and even a hint of anticipation. All kinds of emotions were concentrated on his face. But there was absolutely no fear of death. Sylvie walked in front of Kang, raised the knife in her hand, and stabbed it without hesitation. The knife fell, and it pierced Kang's heart. Kang groaned, and a strange smile suddenly appeared on his face. "See you later." After leaving this sentence, Kang even had the time to blink at Sylvie, and then he slowly lowered his head in the strange laughter and stopped breathing. To be honest, the lighting and music in the last scene are somewhat gloomy. Sylvie, who had avenged her great revenge, was at a loss, and involuntarily took 2 steps back and slowly sat on the ground. I found a book that is very similar to my book. It was recommended on New Books a few days ago. Other things are fine, but the main thing is that the cover is exactly the same as mine, making me think it was mine. Then I found a third book in the book review section that was basically a replica of the title and cover. I suddenly understood how the author of villain chat groups of all heavens felt when he saw a pile of chat group texts. Chapter 205, Start. After the great revenge, Sylvie was like an empty shell, not knowing what to do. Outside, the timeline continued to split, and countless time branches began to grow wildly, recovering towards the normal universe timeline. In the Time Management Bureau, Mobius saw the exploding sacred timeline and said, "There is no turning back." "Who said we should turn back?" said B15. In the screening room, Thanos. This woman killed people. The sacred timeline collapsed, and she collapsed herself. The emptiness brought by revenge completely overwhelmed her. Strange, not really, she just needs time to slow down. Strange, after achieving the goal that she spent thousands of years concentrating on, it is normal to feel empty. Strange, I care more about Kang's words. Strange, see you in reincarnation and back. 1. It seems that Kang will still come back, but we don't know how. Wolverine, isn't this a waste of life? Exclamation mark. 1. It's not that simple. Kang said that he had experienced millions of reincarnations and met countless people before he chose Loki and Sylvie. I think Kang is very likely to have concealed something. That is, he had seen more than one person who came to him, but only Sylvie killed Kang cleanly. Bruce Wayne. In other words, we can extend a possibility, that is, Bayon's reincarnation is just to avoid Kang from other universes through death. Peter Parker. Why isn't he still dead? Is there any difference between being stabbed to death and being killed by Kang from other universes? Ultraman Hickory. Yes, not only is there, but it's also very big. Ultraman Hickory. If Kang is killed by Sylvie, he can reincarnate and be resurrected, but if he is killed by Kang from other universes, Kang is really dead. Strange, he is looking for the best ending. And after millions of searches, this is his best ending. Strange, I guess, in the test endings of other people, either they couldn't resist the temptation of mistime and didn't even see Kang, or they surrendered to Kang. As long as Sylvie killed Kang, he escaped the pursuit of other Kangs, and there was only Loki left. Loki could help him control the Time Management Bureau, and Sylvie could kill him. Strange, in Kang's opinion, this is perfect. Strange, so in Kang's opinion, all this is a happy ending. Loki, his happiness is nothing. The video continues. After being exiled to the Time Management Bureau, Loki sat on the ground and pondered for a long time, and finally came out of his grief. You can't sit and wait for death when encountering things. Loki ran wildly in the corridor according to his previous memory and rushed to the control center of the Time Management Bureau. The entire Time Management Bureau has become a mess, and countless Time Management Bureau staff are walking around in a hurry. On the way, Loki met the Time Guards who were being mobilized. But these Time Guards didn't even look at him, as if they didn't know him. They just rushed past Loki. Loki didn't have time to think about it, and frantically searched for the person he was looking for in the Time Management Bureau. Finally, Loki found Mobius and B-15 in the archives. There are 63 time branches in this section. Mobius looked at the time controller in B-15's hand, his face full of shock. B-15 asked back in disbelief, does he want us to just leave it alone? Mobius spread his hands, as if he was covering himself with a small blanket under the bridge. How can we stop it in this situation? Seeing this, Loki shouted directly, we can't stop it. What did you say? Mobius turned his head in surprise. It's over, Mobius. Loki walked forward and said with a sad face, we made a big mistake. We freed the timeline. We finally found him in the castle at the end of time. He is so terrible. All of this is planned by him. He sees through everything. He knows everything. Seeing that Mobius was still confused, Loki hurriedly explained for Mobius. But Mobius still had an expression that said, who knows what you said? Seeing this, Loki could only continue to explain, this is very complicated, and it will take a while to explain it clearly. But listen carefully, someone is coming soon. Countless variations of a dangerous person. They are coming to kill us soon, and we must be prepared, as soon as possible. Looking at the extremely nervous Loki, Mobius stretched out his hands to try to comfort him. Calm down, you are an analyst, right? Which department are you from? What are you talking about? Mobius continued to ask, who are you? What's your name? And B-15 behind Mobius took out his pager and shouted, send a guard to the archives room immediately. Hearing this, Loki finally realized that something was wrong. He instinctively turned his head to look around, and the next second, his whole body froze in place. In the hall outside the archives, there stood a huge statue. It was different from the original 3 statues of the Time Guardian Lizard Man. What he saw now was actually a statue of Kang. End of Loki. Part 2. You call this the end? Everyone was furious. How dare you say he's finished when he's acting so confusing? Exclamation mark. Perhaps the screening room noticed that everyone was on the verge of going berserk and issued another notice. Stay tuned for the second season. Oh my god. Are you a serious procrastinator? At least explain the Kang statue clearly. Thank you for telling us there will be a second season. This live broadcast has ended. You will be notified 48 hours before the next live broadcast. Now please go home and draw cards. The screening room will be closed in 24 hours. This time, the time flow rate has been slightly adjusted. Suppose there is one live broadcast room viewer and one screening room viewer in World A. When there is a viewer in World A, the world flow rate is the same as the screening room. When the live broadcast room viewer and the screening room viewer both come to the screening room, the time flow rate of World A is suspended until both viewers return to World A. Suppose there is only one live broadcast room viewer in World B. When the live broadcast room viewer comes to the screening room, the time flow rate of World B is suspended. If it is a screening room viewer, the same applies. Looking forward to meeting you next time. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Everyone in the live broadcast room was teleported into the screening room. What's going on? Logan hadn't reacted to this new update. The amount of information in the words was a bit large, so he had to analyze it. That is to say, the time in your world and Mr. Magneto's world is now suspended. Until one of you returns to your own world, the time in your world will continue to flow. Wow, awesome. Wolverine nodded, then ran to the place where the wine and cigarettes were kept, cut open a bottle of wine he didn't know what kind of wine it was, and blew it into the bottle. This kind of wine won't make you drunk, and the wine is guaranteed. There are not many opportunities to smoke cigarettes casually, so you have to enjoy it. What kind of answering questions? Start showing off. Damn, I've been brushing the map for half a month and saved up thousands of materials. Today I'm going to start refining the elixir, and then I found out that I brushed the wrong map. Now the materials I brushed can't be used. Damn. Half a month of work wasted. Chapter 206. Let me check. Logan brought a bunch of good wine and sat next to the captain. The two centenarian veterans always had a good chat. The Frankenstein combination and the Malay magic combination were discussing the last scene. Two scenarios. 1. Kang's evil counterpart has come, so the timeline has changed. 2. Loki went to the wrong place, and the time management bureau he arrived at was the time management bureau of another universe. Hickory took out a light screen and began to write and draw on it. Personally, I don't have a deep understanding of time, and I want to hear everyone's thoughts. Drive Strange? How about you start first? When Strange heard Hickory calling his name, he didn't refuse and said directly, in my personal opinion, the possibility of hypothesis 1 is not very high. At least in our world, you can go back to the past time and space, but this change will not affect and change the time and space you are in now. In other words, the grandfather paradox will not be born. You killed your grandfather, but you still exist because you changed the time on another timeline. In other words, in our world, even if I traveled to the time when Thanos was just born and strangled the baby Thanos to death, in my timeline, I still have to fight Thanos. Tony said, I have never conducted in-depth research on the aspect of time travel, but now it seems that I also need to speed up my research in this area. Hey. Thanos said somewhat dissatisfiedly that he was still here to listen and asked if he could not use himself as an example. Speaking of studying the timeline, Ace suddenly said, Hickory, Wong said he has assigned you a research project on the timeline and asked you to put aside the prop development work on hand. Okay. Hickory reluctantly agreed and then said, what if the second possibility is true? Then, it is the second possibility? Loki entered the time management bureau of another universe. Wong scratched his head and said, but how did Sylvie throw Loki into the time management bureau of another universe? And judging from the performance of the time management bureau, this should be exactly the same as the time management bureau of the previous Kang universe. Sylvie used Kang's watch. Kang can manage an entire timeline, so it is not surprising that he has coordinates of other universes. And throwing that false god into another world should also be Kang's calculation. This time it was the Holy Lord who spoke. He appeared in front of everyone in the form of a dragon soul. Wow. Tony said first. It seems that you are the newcomer. I thought you would look like Satan. The Holy Lord ignored him, with a dazzling red light flashing in his eyes. If we infer according to the Lord's logic, it is indeed reasonable. We don't know what the Time Management Bureau in other universes is like, so before everything is revealed, all inferences are valid. The Lord looked at Hikaru, Ace and Thanos. He could feel that these three creatures were definitely not of the same kind. This screening room restricted their actions, but it did not limit their ability to detect, at least, whether they were the same kind of demons. The Lord could tell at a glance that the terrifying energy in Hikaru and Ace was not righteousness, but light energy from the sun. Although this thing did not reject him as violently as righteousness, it also made him feel uncomfortable. And Thanos, the madman who claimed to destroy half of the life in the universe with a snap of his fingers, making the 8 demons bow down to him. Thanos did not have energy similar to righteousness and black energy, but the biological energy in his body was very terrifying. He knew very well that this place was different from the previous world. In the previous world, the upper limit ceiling was him and his group of stupid brothers and those 8 bastards. But this place connects countless worlds, and there must be strong people stronger than me in these worlds. As long as I make good use of this power, it will be easy to restore my power to rule the world, and even to extend my territory to other worlds. Now I have left a good impression on them. As long as I control it well, the power of this group of mortals can be used for my own benefit. So what do you think? There is nothing to think about. There is not enough information, and there are only so many possibilities that can be analyzed. If hypothesis 2 is true, then I'm more concerned about why Kang designed to send Loki to another time management bureau. Bruce Wayne said, maybe it is not Kang who wants to find a way to get rid of Loki. Not to mention that this is completely contrary to our previous information, and it is easy for Kang to kill Loki. What do you mean it is easy to kill Loki? Loki said angrily, I'm Loki, the god of trickery, Asgard beat by Hulk. I can't even transform into Asgard. I was strangled to death by my isotope on the spot. A bluffing false god. I don't know when persecuting Loki became a popular entertainment program. This is just like persecuting Captain Yantao. It is still so interesting after many times. Hey, I have an idea. Peter suddenly raised his hand and said, Kang himself said that there are countless Kangs in the multiverse fighting each other, and the entire multiverse has become a mess. In this case, that Kang must have his own comrades, and since there is an evil Kang conquering the universe, there must be a kind Kang to defend the multiverse. Kang should have sent Loki to his comrades. Peter is right. Bruce Wayne nodded and said, if the strength of the Kangs is similar, then one Kang against a group of Kangs is not a war at all. This is bullying. The confrontation between a group of Kangs is a war. So we can conclude that more than one Kang hid and established the Time Management Bureau because they couldn't beat the evil Kang and then used it to avoid the pursuit of the evil Kang. Although this is just a guess, this guess is still quite reasonable. This group of guys can also be regarded as protecting the safety of one side of the timeline in this way. Then it seems we have to be careful. Bruce Wayne said, since there is more than one timeline and Time Management Bureau, it is very likely that Kang exists in our respective universes, and the possibility of Kang existing in Stark's universe is greater. If they really rush in, everyone must be careful. Haha. Logan laughed when he heard this and said, they are just a group of ordinary people relying on equipment. What's there to worry about? Their equipment can cut timelines. Strange said, besides, they may not necessarily find you. What if they are people from your universe? They committed a crime and were captured. You are in this timeline, and then you are cut into the void by the Time Management Bureau? Fuck. Logan's mouth twitched. He was not sure if he could survive being swallowed by Elias, and he was not sure that there would be no such painful situation as accidental injury in his own world. So, be careful. Hikari said, if you are cut into the void, the first thing to do is run fast. Don't get caught by Elias. As long as you survive and contact the infinite screening room, you will be safe. We will all help you find a solution. Don't try to attack Kang's castle like Sylvie did. It's Kang's script that they can get to Kang. It's really hard for you to say. That's right. Captain America echoed, and everyone in the technology team, your technological capabilities are also an important force in fighting the Time Administration. The screening room restricts the exchange of items, but not the exchange of knowledge. Our knowledge can be shared. In the face of this unknown threat, I think we should unite. Each universe has its own unique products, especially since we are all elites from various universes, and we should unite to deal with crises in various universes. After a speech, Captain America added, "It would be great if we could travel through different universes." When I wrote this, I suddenly felt that it would be nice to let the Captain be the human body of Ultraman. In order to prevent someone from using Captain America 3 to attack me, I would like to state first that, if you think I prefer Captain America's buggy, please read chapter 115. It's really possible in the future. Hikaru said, "I've said before that the technology of traveling through the universe has been developed in the Kingdom of Light, but it has not been perfected for various reasons. But with everyone in the infinite screening hall, I think it will not be a problem to connect various universes in the future. Then I have to look forward to it. Anyway, I live a long life. Maybe I can travel to your world one day." Logan opened the wine, raised his own glass, and clinked it with Constantine beside him, and drank it all. "Ace, where are the things I asked you to bring?" After the questions about Loki's last scene were over, Hikaru asked. "It's all here." Ace took out a space capsule, twisted it lightly, and a set of equipment appeared in the screening room. Space storage device. The two Frankenstein's eyes lit up. The gold content of this thing is too high. Regardless of whether it is subspace storage or particle storage, the technology content in it is enough to greatly improve their equipment level. Tony can even imagine that he raised his hand and waved. Hundreds of mechas appeared in the air and fought the enemy together with him. The advanced ball I drew before gave me a lot of inspiration. Although it is still impossible to let creatures live in the ball without obstacles as described in the instructions, I reversed some of the data based on the data of the capsule monster and then created a space capsule that can store dead objects. Hikari waved at Peter and said, "Come on, Peter, let me see." I deleted another message from a porn seller. "Brothers, did I do it right? Students who think I did it right, please shine the light of righteousness." Chapter 207 On Demand Volume. Push harder. Push harder. Peter. Come on. You can do it. Almost. Hold on a little longer. It will be over soon. Come on Peter. You can do it. Woohoo. Done. A light particle flew out of Peter's body, and before it dissipated, it was absorbed and held by Hikari's instrument. Huff, huff. Peter was panting heavily from exhaustion. This was too torturous. This felt like having blood drawn, but you have to hold it back to make it come out. Although he had accidentally released a super powerful light before, how that light was released was still a mystery to Peter. After all, he was still a human being. It was easy for Ultraman to release light particles, but for ordinary people, it was like manipulating non-existent energy such as internal force. How is it? Ace helped Peter sit down, and the others gathered around him curiously. As of now, the light in Peter's body is very gentle, and there is no problem at all. This is the purest light. Hikari looked at the data displayed on the instrument, and said to everyone, although this light is weak, it is particularly dazzling. Peter said before that he seemed to have released a ray of light by accident. This ability does not actually exist in our Kingdom of Light. Hikari continued to explain, our light skills are acquired through training, just like human painting skills. It requires constant training and strong talent to develop strong enough light skills. The temperature of Zofie M87's light can reach 870,000 degrees Celsius. This kind of power requires not only day-to-day and year-to-year training, but also sufficient talent. It's the first time I've seen someone like Peter release light without special training. I think the Ultraman who lent Peter the light should have left his light skill in the light particles. As long as Peter meets the conditions, he can trigger the light skill. What conditions are required? I don't know the specific situation, but judging from Peter's previous situation, it was Peter's desire to protect Gwen that stimulated the genetic factors in the light particles, causing Peter to use that light skill. If Peter could release the light skill once now, I can record the data of the light skill and take it back to analyze it carefully, to find out what is going on. My conclusion now is that Peter's integration of light is definitely not a bad thing, especially when monsters appear in his world. After hearing Hikaru's conclusion, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. At least he is fine. Okay, everyone, I'm going to draw a card. Tony turned and walked towards the card drawing machine with a numb expression on his face. This is the 24th live broadcast as a trial broadcast. Except for getting a bumblebee during the trial broadcast and a grey card during the cooperative live broadcast, he was punished the rest of the time. Tony Stark, a great man of his generation, has never had a good time since he entered the screening room. The captain also stood up and followed him. It's too difficult. It's really too difficult for him. Tony has at least 2 reward cards, but he was punished throughout the whole process. The first 5 Tigers trial almost killed him. The second time was better, just a pain card that was not painful. Alas, this time he got another pain card, but they did not suffer in vain. One met elite scientists from other universes and saw a lot of technology far beyond their world, which greatly broadened his horizons. The other met Logan, who was also a 100-year-old veteran, and found a confidant. This pain card is just like a ticket. Yes, I won. Wanda cheered happily in front of the card machine. What did you win? Look, it's a demand ticket. Wanda held a golden ticket in her hand that was completely different from the reward and punishment card. The runes written on it were unknown to everyone, but they could understand that it meant on demand. On demand ticket. Category, special props, introduction, select a certain audience in the screening room, all of broadcast room as the on-demand object, and then the screening room will extract an element link from this audience to play it. On-demand is different from projection. The on-demand video will not be counted in the normal projection, and it will start playing immediately after use. At the same time, the on-demand ticket can only be used after the normal projection ends. Notes. 1. The person being on demand must agree to it too. The selected element is random. It may be an item on the audience, or it may be their own story. 3. The item is a fixed prop, and one will be drawn in each live broadcast. 4. There will be no repeated playback. 5. To be updated. This thing is interesting. Tony stroked his beard and said, this is not as simple as an extra time ticket. This thing can be used to detect many things we can't figure out, such as why Loki was thrown into the time administration. As long as you use the on-demand volume to select Loki, there is a chance to see it. Is there a chance? Yes. Strange also said, the second point of attention is the story itself. The story itself. That is, it is not necessarily the future. It may also be the past. Oh, I don't want to see the 1,500-year-long Asgard royal secret history. Tony complained mercilessly, and Loki has equipment on him, that is, the dog-headed staff over there. If you choose that, it's not bad. We can see an interesting magical world. And the beam of light on Peter's body. It would be nice if we could survey it. Bruce Wayne even hoped that Wanda could use the on-demand volume to select Hickory. He is now completely ignorant of Hickory and the alien organization of the Kingdom of Light, and can't make an effective defense plan at all. It would be even better if you can see the opponent's weaknesses. Wanda looked at the on-demand scroll carefully, and soon she said, I want to use it to order my own future. I want to know the future of Vision and I. What if it's the Chaos Tome? That's nothing we can do. Wanda said, the worst that can happen is that I can see what kind of person my teacher is. Wait a minute, Wanda. Wouldn't Vision be unable to see it if you do this? But this screening room is only for us to use after normal screenings. I'm the only audience in our world who is in the live broadcast room. Even if it is the next live broadcast, Vision will not be able to see it. No, that's not necessarily true. Wan asked the screen, excuse me, can Wanda still watch the videos in the screening room after returning to her own world? No, but Vision can be allowed to enter the screening room temporarily. This chapter is a bit messy. I wrote and revised it, and I was still not satisfied. After revising and writing it again, after everyone drew the card, they played WandaVision. Chapter 208, Gate to Another World. The fifth item of the on-demand ticket instantly became that one could invite a person who was related to the on-demand content to enter the screening room temporarily to watch together. After getting the accurate information, Wanda put away the on-demand ticket and waited for everyone to draw the card before trying to watch it. If the future with Vision was drawn, then Vision would be called in directly. If not, then it didn't matter whether Vision came or not. So who will draw the card first? Mr. Constantine. How about you come first? I remember you have a full 50 points. No. Constantine shook his head and said, it's 60. The time when the hell card came out, I answered correctly once. 60. This is the second highest score in history. The first is Bruce Wayne's 100 points. What do you plan to draw? Blue card or random draw? I plan to wait for you to finish drawing first. Constantine took a puff of cigarette and said slowly, you all know that I have lung cancer. I need the magic props in the screening room to cure my lung cancer, but looking at the frequency of the previous draws, no one can guarantee that the props that can cure me will appear after I get 60 points. So I decided to take it slow. If you draw it, I'm willing to exchange cards with you. If none of you draw it, then I can only save it slowly. My lung cancer is not as serious as in the screening. I can still hold on for a while. Okay. Tony took a deep breath, walked to the black lottery machine, and pulled the lever. Come on. A black card was spit out. Tony took it in his hand and looked at it. The expression on his face was like wearing a mask of pain. Pain card, hair loss. Introduction. Hair loss is a normal physiological phenomenon, but when the speed and amount of hair loss become very fast, it is not normal. Effect. 1 hour after leaving the theater, your hair will begin to produce oil at a speed of 10 to 100 times, become burnt, frizzy, and have dandruff flying around. Your hair will begin to fall out continuously until it is unknown when all of it falls out. What a vicious card. Wanda saw this pain card and subconsciously covered her hair with her hands. The thought of losing all her hair and becoming bald made Wanda shudder, and at the same time, she glared at Loki who was watching the show. Loki said that he felt wronged and asked, why are you glaring at me when you didn't draw this card? After putting on the pain mask, Tony thought for a moment and decisively glared at Loki. Pain card, eat a date pill. Introduction. After leaving the theater, a date pill will appear on your hand every 24 hours. After eating it, it will cause the chaos effect. The chaos effect lasts for 3 to 12 hours. The card drawer himself does not eat the chaos effect within 3 hours x3. Effect. The confusion effect is not fixed, including but not limited to biting, barking, severe obsessive compulsive disorder, smashing the neighbor's glass, and pooping in public. Great. Loki almost laughed like crazy when he saw this. The captain regretted why he showed it to them at this moment. It's okay, Captain. Tony said with a smile, we will lock you in your room later, and you can come out after the effect of the drug has worn off. Captain America sighed lightly. He was tired. I won't gamble next time. If I continue like this, I will lose my dignity sooner or later. I'll do it. Hikaru walked up and drew a pain card first. Pain card, love of the corner of the table. Introduction. Have you ever experienced the feeling of your toes hitting the corner of the table when you walk? Effect. In the 7 days after leaving the screening room, the probability of your toes touching the corner of the table will increase significantly. Hikaru shrugged and turned away. Aren't you going to draw a reward card? I want to save up for a gold one. Hikaru said, I have accumulated enough blue cards, such as bamboo dragonflies, air cannons, and telekinesis development manuals. I can't study them all. The king also assigned me a time flow research project. After I finish studying these cards and the project assigned by the king, I will consider drawing cards. Hikaru said lightly, and everyone thought he was being Versailles. Let me do it. The Holy Lord floated to the card drawing machine, read the manual carefully, and pulled the white machine first. He only had 10 points, and he could only exchange a white card with the yellow machine, which was too bad. I'll get out of prison if I try. Item card, Brain Enhancement Potion version 2.0, level, green card, introduction, a bottle of potion developed by the Umbrella Corporation. The potion is blue. After injection, it will develop the brain to a certain extent, and even give birth to telekinesis. However, due to the side effects, the volunteers consumed too quickly during the experiment, and this drug was listed as a failed product. It was not until later, when the Umbrella Corporation employees used part of the drug's information when developing a product codenamed T. The Holy Lord looked at the card, speechless. Not to mention that he was a soul. Even if he was a complete body, how could he, the Holy Lord, a dignified fire demon, use a group of human technological products? And this thing is a failed technological product. Doesn't this make him look like a ragpicker? Is there anyone who wants to trade with me? The Holy Lord asked everyone. Still 10 points. 10 points for a 30-point green card. Do you want to trade? Don't worry about me cheating you. This is just a transaction where both sides get what they need. I, the Holy Lord, am the credibility benchmark among the 8 demons. No one paid attention to him. Everyone in this live broadcast was quite poor. Only 3 people answered the first collective question correctly. The richest Bruce Wayne exchanged for a purple card last time. Now not only does he have 0 points, but he also owes the screening room a pain card. Loki, Constantine, and Strange did have some leftovers, but they were not interested in this potion with a major flaw. The Lord smacked his lips, put away the green card, and planned to sell it to new people next time. Then he pulled the lever, and began to draw nightmare cards. Nightmare card, the brand of the gates to the other world. Introduction. The world is endless, and each world has different creatures, which can also be called the specialties of that world, except for humans. When the gates to the other world is opened, the creatures from the other world will follow the guidance of the world's will, and go to the other side of the gate, and you will be the first person they have to deal with. Effect. 1 hour after leaving the screening room, the gates to the other world will open next to you, and a group of creatures from the other world will come every 24 hours. And the creatures from the other world will attack you. Each time the creatures from the other world will be strengthened, the gates to the other world will be closed after 7 attacks. Gate to the other world. Creatures from other worlds. The Lord looked at the introduction of this nightmare card, and remembered the additions to the nightmare card in his mind. If the penalty card is not activated within a certain period of time, it will be automatically activated, and the effect will last forever. I, the Holy Lord, suddenly had a crazy idea. I'm now looking for a writer assistant to help me sort out the information of everyone in the screening room. I really can't count it. Those who are interested can join the group. 1,161,933,623. Chapter 209 Waiting for you to enter your dream. The Lord left with his crazy idea, and then Loki immediately stepped forward to draw a card. Give me another blood awakening, and another awakening card. Loki tasted the sweetness. 1 blood awakening gave him a powerful frost power. If he did it twice, he would not need the icebox to freeze a planet. The icebox is a planet destroying frost giant clan artifact. In theory, it is on the same level as Asgard's Rainbow Bridge and Surtur's Eternal Flame. After all, the biggest function of the icebox is to modify the environment and turn it into the most suitable extremely cold weather for the frost giants to live. From this point of view, the Eternal Flame can bring an everlasting flame and unlock Surtur's ultimate form. The Rainbow Bridge can carry out a devastating blow to any of the 9 realms, and it is also the root of Asgard's armor's supermobility. It is reasonable to call these 3 clans the clan artifacts of the 3 clans. And changing the environment of a planet by one's own power, this is at least touching the floor of the Father level. Maybe he can't compare with the upper limit of the Father of Heaven like Odd and Ancient One, but he can be regarded as half a step into the Father of Heaven level. The Father of Heaven level strong people can be ranked in the whole universe and are well known. Except for the special case of Ancient One who has only stayed on Earth for hundreds of years. Loki first pulled the lever of the random card drawer, and with a flash of light, a white card was spit out. Prop card, Asgard Chronicle, electronic version, level, white card, introduction. This is a history book that records Asgard from its establishment to its destruction. It records all the history of Asgard in detail, including the God King's Chronicle, Royal Secrets, Ragnarok, Rebirth after Disaster and other chapters. It is the best choice for playing time. The most important thing is that it comes with a solar charger after use. Loki's face darkened. Who needs such a thing? He, Loki, is a person who got full marks in history class. However, considering that he will face Ragnarok in the future, Loki still put this card away. He remembered it clearly. When the old Loki summoned Asgard, he shouted, "I'm the destroyer of Asgard, the creator of Ragnarok. I, Loki, am the creator of Ragnarok." Loki still remembered that a long time ago, when he was arguing with those damn humans, they said that in the mythology of their world, Loki was also the one who created Ragnarok. Thinking of this, Loki shuddered and took the white card to go back and study it carefully. Of course, you can't forget to draw a card before leaving. Nightmare card, the watching of the Nightmare Demon King. Introduction. Nightmare demons are a kind of strange creatures living in dreams. They are active in dreams and have the ability to manipulate dreams. They like to seduce the souls of creatures in the real dimension through beautiful dreams, making them linger in dreams and finally become slaves of nightmare demons. The most powerful nightmare demon is called the Nightmare Demon King. The Nightmare Demon King has a powerful magic to enter the dreams of thousands of worlds. Now this King of Dreams has noticed you. Effect: 1 hour after leaving the theater, you will enter a dream. In the dream, you will see the nightmare monster that comes to find you. Try to escape from the dream. The dream is fake, but the nightmare monster has the ability to make you feel the same as in reality. Only death is the end. Loki looked at this card, which is the most difficult nightmare card so far, and felt a little scared. Why can that mortal pass by just beating a group of mortals, while I have to face a group of monsters with the power to manipulate dreams? Loki saw this card, and didn't plan to hide it. He knew very well which one was more important, face or life. When everyone saw Loki's nightmare card, they were also quite scared. This thing is really too weird. What do you mean, that only death is the end? The death of the nightmare monster? Or death can end the dream? Wayne's 3 questions instantly activated everyone's thinking. They all began to think about this nightmare card, which was so difficult that it exceeded the previous series of penalty cards. Isn't this card too difficult? Peter Parker said, nightmare cards weren't that difficult before. No, Kit, this is how difficult nightmare cards should be. Strange said, the main reason why this nightmare card is so difficult is that the weirdness of the previous nightmare cards is not as strong as this one. The trial of the 5 Tiger Generals. This card looks simple, but if it's an ordinary person, any trial can kill him. And after that time, the theater also adjusted the difficulty of the penalty card, and adjusted the difficulty according to the strength of the person who drew the card. In other words, the difficulty of nightmare cards drawn by different people is also different. The trial of the 5 tigers may not even be considered a pain card for Loki, but it is an absolute nightmare for ordinary people. So this revised nightmare card has a chance of killing Loki. As soon as this was said, everyone was shocked. Death. This thing has never happened in the theater. Loki did die, but that was in the Avengers 3 clip played in the theater. The atmosphere in the screening room has always been very harmonious, and the rules of the screening room clearly state that there is no mandatory answering, and everything is voluntary. Everyone is also a reasonable person, and naturally knows that the greater the return, the greater the risk. If you answer correctly, you will be rewarded, and if you answer incorrectly, you will naturally be punished. Constantine couldn't help but feel a little scared at this moment. The nightmare card is like this. If he had made a wrong bet and drawn a hell card, wouldn't he be prepared to be accompanied by Satan? Seeing the expressions of pity on everyone's face, Loki, who was still a little scared in his heart, was furious. Put away your expressions of pity. It's just a low-level monster. This god will not only defeat it, but also make it a slave. Just wait and see. This time, no one confronted Loki. Everyone who had just finished watching Loki currently had a good impression of Loki, and Peter even sent his blessings to Loki. Show us the nightmare card, maybe we can help you analyze something. Hearing Bruce Wayne's words, Loki still said something but acted honestly, and handed over the nightmare card honestly. Look. The strongest detective in the DC universe and Sherlock Holmes worked together to analyze, and soon found the blind spot. It is the Nightmare Demon who came to you, not the Nightmare Demon King. Bruce Wayne said, I think this is a breakthrough. Yes, the Nightmare Demon King is very strong, but it is just a nightmare demon. When writing this paragraph, I wrote and revised it again and again. Looking back, Loki's plot against the Nightmare Demon can be said to be a big highlight. Don't worry, I won't threaten you with the life and death of the characters like some tasteless guy. I also thought about writing 1 or 2 characters to show the cruelty of the screening room, but then I thought, 8 lines. I said before, the screening room is a harmonious and friendly place, and it will collapse if someone dies. No. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 210, Sharp Mind, Whisper of the Ancient God. Hearing this, Loki was finally enlightened. Ha ha ha. Why is Loki laughing? I'm laughing at the Nightmare King for being so unwise that he actually tried to send a subordinate to deal with me, the god of trickery, Loki. Loki said, holding the nightmare card, I will first subdue the nightmare demon and extract all the information about the Nightmare King from its mouth. Then I will counterattack the Nightmare King, subdue it, and use its power to conquer the world. Ha ha ha, as long as you are happy. Don't dream. A demon god who can influence the world is at least a single universe level powerhouse. Can you reach the level of Godfather now? Humph. Loki, stop it. Hikari suddenly walked over and pulled Loki to a corner of the screening room. After setting up a soundproof barrier, he said to Loki, be more mature. Maybe you just want to attract our attention and make yourself different by putting on an arrogant attitude, but it is unnecessary. This is a screening room. We are friends here. We can help each other and overcome difficulties together. Isn't that good? And you still say that you don't like the environment of the screening room? Loki turned his head away. Of course he liked it. Who wouldn't like this kind of environment? Maybe Thanos, that twisted lunatic, wouldn't like it. Loki continued to be stubborn. Hikaru smiled. He knew Loki had given in. It's just that Loki's personality is too awkward. Last time Ace told him that this seemed to be called Sundeer on Earth. Are you a twisted lunatic? Of course not. Hikaru smiled slightly, did not continue to pursue the topic, but asked, then can I be friends with you? As he said that, Hikaru stretched out a hand. Loki looked at Hikaru's outstretched hand, his heart twitched, deliberately pondered for a few seconds, and then quickly shook his hand. Let me make it clear first, I'm only willing to be your friend because the props you gave me are still useful. You should feel honored. Of course, I'm honored to be your friend. Hikari said with a smile. Friends of friends are also friends. Others are also my friends. And you are also my friend. So you are also friends with others. Loki was about to refute, but seeing Hikari's expression, he could only say, for your sake. This god reluctantly recognizes them. But let me make it clear first, it's for your sake. Since we are all friends, don't have a sour face all day long. Hikari put 2 fingers on the corners of Loki's mouth in a flash, and lifted the corners of Loki's mouth up. Smell-o. Smell-o. On the other side of the screening room, Thanos saw the isolation shield on Hikaru's side, and said to Ace beside him, if you want to win over some people, I personally don't recommend winning over that Asgardian. He is too weak, both in terms of strength and character. Hikaru didn't win him over. He just did his side job. The first psychologist in the Kingdom of Light. Ace explained. Loki needs some psychological counseling. The most suitable one among us to counsel Loki is Hikaru. You didn't know, because you came late. Loki has received help from Hikaru before, and Hikaru's strength is also relatively strong. If he goes to talk, Loki is more likely to listen. By the way, what pain card did you draw? Enhanced hearing. Thanos took out his own pain card. Pain card, enhanced hearing. Introduction. The principle that things will turn into opposites when they reach their extremes is eternal. It is indeed painful to have weakened hearing, but it is not a good thing to have too keen hearing. Effect. 1 hour after leaving the theater, your hearing will be greatly enhanced, and you can hear even the smallest sounds very clearly, because all sounds will be greatly amplified after entering your ear canal. Not only will you hear more clearly, but you can also hear farther. This effect lasts for 7 days. Is it just the pain of tinnitus that I'm afraid of? Thanos didn't care about the pain card. If he still needed to care about Loki's nightmare card, this kind of pain card that was mainly about torture was not worth mentioning to him. Doctor Strange, are you ready? Strange smiled bitterly when he heard Thanos' words. Alas, sticking your head out is also a knife, and shrinking your head is also a knife. Strange walked to the card drawing machine and pulled it 3 times in a row. 3 penalty cards were spit out. The king's face was a little bit like that. He was tortured by the chain attack of 3 pain cards before. Now Strange has 2 pain cards plus a nightmare card. And it's a revised nightmare card. Captain America was also worried. He had a lot of experience in how tormenting a nightmare card plus a pain card could be. That feeling of social death successfully became a black history that he would never forget. It looks okay. Pain card, neurasthenia. Introduction. Neurasthenia will make you tired, weak, have difficulty concentrating, memory loss, body soreness, limb weakness, back pain, dizziness. Effect. 1 hour after leaving the screening room, you will enter a 7-day period of neurasthenia. Pain card, honey constitution. Introduction. Many insects like to suck sweets, and the sweet smell has a fatal attraction to them, and you are emitting this smell. Effect. 1 hour after leaving the screening room, your body will release the sweet smell of nectar, and then the insects that smell this smell will rush towards you. The effect lasts for 7 days. These 2 cards are just small things. The real big deal is still to come. Nightmare card, sharp mind. Introduction. Some ancient indescribable beings have gone, but their voices can still break through the boundaries of dimensions and ring incomprehensible whispers in people's ears. Ordinary people cannot sense the whispers of these indescribable beings. Ignorance is bliss, which is the happiness of them as fools, but those with sharp minds have the opportunity to listen to these crazy voices, and even more, they can see unknown pictures. God is neither good nor evil, and whether it is a blessing or a disaster depends on the individual. Effect. 1 hour after leaving the screening room, you will gain a sharp mind buff, and your perception of the outside world will be greatly enhanced. At the same time, if you learn spells, your efficiency will be greatly improved, achieving twice the result with half the effort. However, that voice echoes in the world, indescribable and incomprehensible. This effect will last for 7 days. Strange looked at this nightmare card, then looked at the 2 pain cards in his hand, and instantly calculated the best solution. Sorry, it's a little late. I listened to a song today, and memorized the melody in my mind. Then I couldn't forget it. I kept looking for it. Finally I found it. Kenshi Anizu. Lemon is really nice. Chapter 211 WandaVision. Black and White Dimension. You plan to use 10 points to offset the effect of neurasthenia, and then go hard against the nightmare card? You might as well use 30 points to offset the effect of the nightmare card, and then go hard against the 2 pain cards. There's no need. The cinema is here. You can always accumulate points slowly. You still say I'm arrogant, aren't you the same? Listen to our advice and be steady. Can the points in the cinema be transferred? No, reward cards can be given to others, but other items, penalty cards, and points cannot be transferred. Okay, everyone dissuaded Strange from his idea. There was no need to take risks for 20 points, and Strange felt that he had fought Dormammu solo, so it should be no problem. And this nightmare card is obviously a buff. As long as it is used well, it will definitely be a big gain. But seeing that everyone kept dissuading him, Strange did not insist on it. But it's hard to say what he thinks in his heart. Everyone had almost drawn all their pain cards, and Constantine, the big spender this time, saw that everyone was looking at him, and he immediately said, "Everyone, I'm going to put this here today. You know I have cancer, and I need something that can cure my lung cancer, so I'm going to keep my points for now. If anyone draws a card that can cure cancer, I'll buy it at a premium. My lung cancer is not that serious yet, so I should be able to hold off on 1 or 2 live broadcasts. If there is still no card that can cure my lung cancer by then, it won't be too late for me to draw a card. If you draw a card that can cure my disease, please sell it to me. Please. Don't worry, if I draw a card that can cure your lung cancer, I will definitely give it to you." Peter agreed without hesitation, and didn't even mention the points. Others also agreed, and everything went much more smoothly than Constantine expected. Can you tell me how to save Constantine? Simply change his lungs, or change his race? Then I'll order it. Wanda took out the order ticket and chose the person to order for herself. Wanda used the order ticket. The order was successful, and WandaVision was played in 1 minute. Yes. Wanda immediately chose to invite Vision. I won the prize. I didn't expect that I could see the future of myself and Vision with just a click. Great. The next second, Vision appeared in the screening room. Seeing the two people hugging each other, Magneto and Tony felt a little unhappy at the same time. Magneto has always had an inexplicable closeness to this girl named Wanda, and Tony has regarded Wanda as his own daughter for a long time. Later, after investigation and clarification by the Ancient One, his feelings for Wanda became more complicated. Although this is not his daughter, the other part, his parents, died indirectly in his hands. Even though the outflow of these weapons was caused by a baby ironmonger, he was also responsible. Moreover, what made them even more unhappy was the appearance of Vision. Even though they had been vaccinated in the video of Avengers 3, everyone was still a little sensitive to this image. Bruce Wayne even had the urge to take out the electronic virus he developed. WandaVision is on air. Is this our future life? Looking at the picture on the screen, Vision asked puzzledly. Yes. But why is it black and white? Huh. The screen made a hissing sound, making everyone feel as if they were watching an old black and white TV from decades ago. What's going on? I don't know. Maybe this is not your future, but the future of Wanda and Vision in another dimension. Strange explained. Take my universe as an example. In addition to the real dimension where we humans live, that is, the main universe, there are many strange worlds attached to the real dimension, such as the astral world, hell, heaven, and the shadow dimension. Some of these dimensions are no different from the real dimension, while some are very different from the real dimension. For example, the shadow dimension is a world with only darkness and shadows. Strange said, and Wanda and Vision in this world are likely to live in a black and white dimension with only black and white. A world without color. That's too miserable. The multiverse is full of wonders, and the black and white dimension is also relatively normal. Strange said, it's better than some chaotic dimensions. Image starts. A 20th century vintage car drove through the town in a cheerful and slightly weird singing. The style of the town is also quite retro, and it is Wanda and Vision in the car. Wanda is wearing a wedding dress. Vision is also wearing a suit and a hat on his head. It looks like they are a newlywed couple. In the background song, it also sings, they are just an ordinary couple. They left the big city to find a peaceful life. WandaVision. Wanda and Vision saw themselves on the screen walking hand in hand to the new house, and they smiled happily. But those who are involved are confused, while those who are on the sidelines can see clearly. Wanda and Vision saw their own happy future, while Strange on the side felt extremely uncomfortable. WandaVision sat closest to the screen, watching his newlywed life, while others came to the back of the screening room at Strange's signal. I have a bad feeling. Strange said, this screening gave me a feeling that something was wrong. Yeah. Bruce Wayne also said, everything is very ordinary, and the lyrics also sing that they are just an ordinary couple who left the big city to find a peaceful life. But what makes me feel uneasy is here. Bruce Wayne said, I always feel that the screening room is deliberately exaggerating a little bit. That is, ordinary and peaceful. But the more it is deliberately exaggerating, the more I feel that there is something fishy about it. Could it be that you are just too sensitive? Logan said while sharing the cigars on the shelf with Constantine. Isn't this world all that black and white dimension? It's normal to feel a little disconnected. No, I really don't think it's that simple. Strange snatched the cigar from Constantine's hand and said, and you? Stop smoking. Even if the cigars in the screening room don't aggravate your condition, you can't smoke like this. Wait a minute. Listen. Bruce Wayne asked everyone to mute, and they listened carefully to the background music. I just realized that the Chinese New Year is almost here. How can it be so fast? I finally know what the song in the finale of Grey World is. For the Dragon. Chapter 212 Laughter. She is a magical girl in a small town, and he is a cyborg husband. How will this couple fit in and realize their dreams? The love between them is something you have never seen before. WandaVision. Listening to this song and looking at their warm and happy selves on the screen, Wanda and Vision looked at each other, but they were too embarrassed to repeat it in public. The two of them were very happy, and others also felt that something was wrong. I always feel that the lyrics are hinting at us. Loki said, "Magic girl, cyborg husband, they are just an ordinary couple. This doesn't look like an ordinary couple. The most important thing is, what does it mean to integrate and realize dreams? Maybe their dream is to be an ordinary couple." Peter gave a reasonable explanation. WandaVision and their wish may be to be an ordinary couple and live a stable life. Captain America also said, before Wanda and Vision moved into their new home, Wanda also changed the sign in front of the house from for sale to sold. I always feel that this is hinting at something. Another thing, if they are just an ordinary couple, wouldn't it be fine to realize it? Why does the lyrics have to include integration? Did you hear it wrong? I hope so. Image continues. After moving into the new home, Wanda changed into a set of home clothes and started doing housework. Just like the magical girl in the lyrics, Wanda also uses superpowers to do housework, using telekinesis to manipulate plates, cups, and rags, and doing housework with concentration. As a result, Wanda was so focused that she didn't notice Vision coming in with a newspaper, and then the disc hit Vision's forehead and broke into pieces. "My wife and her flying saucer," Vision complained while holding the newspaper. Wanda also said, "My husband and his indestructible head. We are a perfect couple." After saying this, Vision kissed Wanda's forehead. WandaVision looked at herself on the screen and was very happy. But the people behind him felt inexplicably panicked and cold when they saw this scene. I also feel something is wrong. I heard their conversation and felt panic in my heart. Peter said, "What a weird feeling." Thanos suddenly repeated Wanda's words at this moment. Indestructible head? Thanos' expression was a little weird, and the weird feeling in everyone's heart became stronger. That burst of laughter made me feel like I was watching a talk show from the last century. Yes, Strange said, "That's the feeling. They seem to be performing just like a stage play." As soon as these words came out, everyone's backs went cold. What on earth is going on? Wanda asked Vision what he wanted to eat. Bacon? Eggs? Black coffee? Vision replied, "I don't think I need to eat." No wonder the refrigerator is empty. The audience laughed again, and Wanda and Vision smiled at each other. "Wanda, is there anything special today? I know this apron is a bit over the top, dear." Wanda looked at the apron and said, "But I tried my best to fit in." "No, I mean the calendar." Someone drew a little heart on it. The calendar drew a heart on the position of August 23rd. "Yes, little heart." Wanda said, "Ziohuan, don't tell me you forgot what day it is today." "Of course, I didn't forget. How could I forget?" "Then tell me what day it is today." Vision's face froze, and he asked, "What did you ask?" Laughter rang out again. Vision turned and left, and when he left, he blamed it. "Well, maybe you forgot. Have you ever experienced this kind of death question? Anyway, I haven't. I'm so happy. Ha 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 woo 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 woo. If there was no laughter, everything would be normal. But that normal laughter made everyone feel creepy. Maybe the screening room is to match the atmosphere. In the previous scenes, the screening room has never done this. Bruce Wayne said, "The screening room at most plays BGM to set the atmosphere." This kind of song with lyrics and meaningless laughter is the first time. And Strange had an even more terrifying idea. The video continues me. Oh my god. No, I've been looking forward to it. After talking for a while, Vision prepared to go to work. Before leaving, Wanda reminded him to turn himself into an ordinary person. Since everyone had seen Vision in human mimicry before, they didn't feel anything unusual at the moment. If it weren't for the omnipresent laughter, Wanda was looking at the calendar, thinking about something, and then her thoughts were interrupted by a knock on the door. Wanda stopped thinking. The one knocking on the door was Wanda's neighbor on the right, and the two got to know each other during the casual chat, and Anne suddenly asked, "Why do you, a single girl, live in such a big house?" "I'm not single. I didn't see the ring. Believe me, I'm married." Wanda said, "I married a man, a human, and he's very tall." Oh my god. Although we already know the truth, Why do I always feel a strong sense of disobedience when I hear Wanda say this? Normal humans don't deliberately emphasize that their husbands are human. I understand, this should be the story of Wanda and Vision, who retired from the position of superheroes and tried to integrate into the lives of ordinary people. Peter said, that must be the case. Wanda and Vision in this world are also superheroes, but one day they wanted to retire, so they came to this small town to live incognito. But because they haven't been in contact with ordinary people for a long time, they made a lot of jokes. The reason why it feels weird must be because this is the black and white dimension. Listening to Peter's confident statement, the others were also stunned. Is it really me who is overthinking? Did the screening room just change the playback method? After all, this is on demand, not a live broadcast, so it is normal that it is a little different from the live broadcast. The video continues. Wanda and Ans were chatting happily. At Ans' suggestion, Wanda thought that this was the anniversary of her and Vision. How long have you been together? I feel like we have always been together. The perspective changes to Vision. Vision is a clerical employee of a company. He completed his work quickly and accurately and handed it over to his colleague Norman. Then he asked Norman what he was doing. Norman said that he didn't know what he was doing, but since Vision came here, their efficiency has increased by 300%. Man, you're like a walking computer. Hearing this, Vision quickly retorted, I'm not a computer, I'm just an ordinary carbon-based employee made entirely of organic matter. No different from you, Norman. Laughter rang out again. Such high efficiency, worthy of me. I think I can update 3 times. Chapter 213 Happy Dinner. Norman was surprised by Vision's violent reaction. Suddenly, Vision's boss came in, and Vision knew that today was the day his boss would come to his house for dinner. The boss chatted with Vision for a few words and asked, you don't have skeletons, dirty secrets, in your cabinet, Vision? I don't have skeletons, sir. Hahaha. Laughter sounded as if someone was watching a very interesting comedy. That's great. The future of the company depends on you. The boss painted a pie in the sky for Vision and left. In the screening room, the two groups of people were separated. WandaVision was at the front, and the others sat at the back on the grounds of not disturbing them. I know where this sense of disharmony comes from. Strange said, same. These laughs are all the same. Same? Yes, just like those meaningless funny videos that one watched while slacking off at work. Those funny videos will add meaningless awkward laughs to their videos. This laugh is the same as those laughs, as if it was artificially synthesized and added in. The video continues. Vision specifically called Wanda at home. One of them talked about the anniversary, and the other talked about the boss coming to the house for dinner. I think the best way is to please the husband. I think the best way is to please the wife. Great, I'm glad we agree. See you tonight, dear. Just as the two talked about the front door basket and the hip axis, the laughter rang out again. At this moment, a toaster advertisement was played on the TV. This toaster is also a product of Stark Industries. I don't remember our company developing a toaster. Stark said on the side. That's better than developing weapons. TSK. At night, Vision led the boss and his wife back home. The house was dark, with only a few candles lit. Then when Vision went to find Wanda, Wanda actually ran out in a long dress, mistook the boss for Vision, and played a game of guessing who I was with the boss. The scene was very awkward for a while, and Vision could only forcefully explain that this was the etiquette of Sokovia's hospitality. Finally, after a wave of forced explanations, Wanda and Vision entered the kitchen. They began to discuss this matter. Isn't today our anniversary? What anniversary? I wouldn't tell you if you didn't know. The people outside are my boss Hart and his wife. The little hearts on the calendar are abbreviations. One of us can move at the speed of sound, and the other can make the pen float in the air. Who needs abbreviations? Although Wanda was extremely dissatisfied, her husband's career was the most important. Wanda had to go cook, otherwise 4 people couldn't share a chocolate-covered strawberry. Laughter rang out again. Wanda squeezed lightly, and her pajamas turned into a normal evening gown. Then Vision went out to hold back the boss and his wife, while Wanda went to the next door to find Ans to come to the rescue. Vision was quite happy when he talked about work with his boss, but his wife was obviously a little impatient. Wanda took the ingredients borrowed from Anne's and started to prepare dinner, but the process was not smooth. First, the pot fell to the ground, attracting the boss's wife to come over to help. Vision could only attract her attention by singing. Then Wanda tried to change the chicken back after it was burnt, but the force was too strong, and the chicken turned directly into an egg. "Honey, do you still have this ability?" Wanda was a little confused when she heard Vision ask herself. It didn't make sense. Her own chaos fire could only burn the roasted chicken into molecules at most. She really didn't know about this ability to change objects. Damn it. Constantine couldn't help but swear and asked, "Strange one, what kind of magic did Wanda use? Is it also from the Chaos Codex?" It shouldn't be. The Chaos Codex is all about the Chaos Fire series, that is, Chaos Fireball, Chaos Big Fireball, Chaos Continuous Fireball, Chaos Explosion Fireball. The ability to modify reality has nothing to do with the Chaos Codex. Instead, it seems like the ability of the reality gem. This should be the power of chaos. Sithan's chaos power. A terrifying power that is enough to turn the multiverse upside down. Reverse the multiverse. Although the process was difficult, Wanda still prepared a simple meal. Is this dinner for breakfast? European style. Anyway, the boss and his wife, who were already starving, didn't bother to care so much. Filling their stomachs was the most important thing. Fortunately, although the food was small, it tasted good. While eating, the boss and his wife began to ask soul questions. Where are you from? How long have you been married? Why don't you have children? The boss asked a series of questions like a string of cannonballs, which confused the two. This made the boss even more curious. Is this question difficult? Suddenly, the boss got food stuck in his throat. The boss's wife thought the boss was pretending, so she said, "Stop." But the boss was obviously choked. But the boss's wife kept saying stop, she kept saying stop, and while saying it, she looked at Wanda, as if she was saying to Wanda, "Stop, stop, stop quickly, Wanda, stop quickly." Even, there was already a crying tone in her words. I knew it wasn't that simple. The extremely weird scene on the screen made everyone shudder, and even Wanda and Vision began to find something wrong. What the hell is going on? Is Mrs. Hart telling Wanda to stop? Change the question into a statement. This is what she is saying to Wanda. What the hell is going on? This weird scene was interrupted only when Wanda called Vision to help. Vision, help him. Vision ran to the boss and used his ability to become virtual. He directly virtualized his hand deep into the boss body and took out the cake that choked the boss. After taking out the cake, the boss said he was leaving. At the same time, they said that they had a great time at Wanda's house, and the boss said that he would talk to Vision about promotion on Monday. When they left, the lobster that Wanda had thrown out of the window before appeared on the door. Sure enough, the laughter came as expected. Chapter 214 Big Surprise. You didn't expect that I would update 4 times already. In recognition of my hard work, who can answer the questions I raised in the mini theater? Honestly, I hope that Mr. Hart was speaking in a sarcastic way. Peter looked at the screen and said horribly, "Otherwise, this is too weird." Yeah, a normal person would not think that a dinner where one almost choked to death would be pleasant. Don't you consider grasping the point? What did that woman mean when she said stop? Loki was going crazy. He had never encountered such a weird thing in his 1500 years of life. It's like an edited world. Tony suddenly said, "No, my description of it is not accurate enough, but the feeling I get is, there is a bug in this world." Yes, that's the feeling. There's another way to describe it. I feel out of place. Out of place. Yes. From the very beginning of the laughter, the screening room has been forcibly creating a sense of being out of place, as if reminding us that all this is not real. It's just a drama. Excellent works must be immersive. At the very least they cannot interrupt the audience's senses, but this time the screening did the opposite, constantly reminding us, interrupting us, as if telling us that none of this is real. I have a bold guess. Hickory suddenly whispered, "Maybe this is not a black and white dimension." What? The image continues. After seeing off the boss and his wife, Wanda said to Vision, "We are not an ordinary couple, are we?" Oh, no one has ever questioned this. I mean, we don't have anniversaries, songs, or even wedding rings. Vision heard Wanda's complaint and responded, this can make up for it. Today can be our anniversary. Commemorate what? Commemorate that we persisted in the first dinner? Vision smiled and said, yes, what about our song? Of course it's chattering, what about the wedding ring? Can't you make one for us? Speaking of this, Vision stretched out his hand. Seeing this, Wanda smiled knowingly and stretched out her hand as well. With a light tap of the other hand, there was no gorgeous special effects, no complicated casting process, just like the movie special effects made in the era when special effects technology was not yet developed. With an incomprehensible sound, a pair of wedding rings appeared on Wanda and Vision's hands in an instant. Yes, there were no special effects, no spells, just a light tap, and the wedding rings appeared. The two looked at each other affectionately, treating this as eternity, looking forward to the beauty of the future. Everything is so beautiful. When Hikaru saw this scene, the energy indicator light on his chest flashed. That is, creating something out of nothing. Out of nothing? This does not conform to the law of conservation. Ace retorted, creating something out of nothing is a power far beyond the ordinary cosmic level. Even if it is a matter conversion, it is amazing enough. It was just a light touch. She didn't even cast the spell beforehand. Strange added, although creating 2 diamond rings is nothing, creating something out of nothing is definitely not what ordinary people can do. This is creating something out of nothing. Creating something out of nothing. The legendary Eternity may have reached this level. Don't criticize Marvel's settings. Don't always bring in the gods' perspective. This is speculation. Image continues. At night, a series of loud noises woke Wanda up. Hearing Wanda's voice, Vision also woke up. What's wrong, Wanda? Ziohuan, can you go see what's happening outside? There's only your rosebush outside. Vision came to the window and looked out. Nothing unusual. I've used my night vision. I promise you, dear, I didn't see anything. Vision turned to Wanda and said, you don't need to be afraid at all. As soon as Vision finished this sentence, a loud noise sounded, and Vision hid in the quilt on the spot. The laughter sounded again. What did you say just now? Wanda looked at her husband who was curled up in the quilt, with a helpless look on her face. Ha ha ha. Wanda laughed very happily. She asked Vision beside her, so you are afraid of the sound of thunder? Actually, I'm not. It's okay, Vision. Wanda said with a smile. Next time there is a thundercloud, I will just blow it up. The embarrassed Vision crawled out of the quilt and said, actually, when I was at work, I heard several colleagues mention that there were some troublesome people nearby. Who knows what those idle guys will do? Robbing houses, causing damage. Wanda took over the conversation and said, go through walls, move things around without using hands. Laughter rang. Wanda, dear, you don't mean to say that my colleagues are talking about me. Just at this moment, the voice rang again, and then Wanda and Vision's beds actually came together. One of us has to figure this out. Yes, one person has to. Just then, the sound rang again. Wanda finally couldn't help it, and raised her hand to open the curtains. Then she found that it was just the wind blowing the leaves, and Vision was biting the quilt because of the sound. Isn't Vision a robot? He also needs to sleep. Yes, I think his intelligence is too strong, and there is no difference from a normal person. Don't ask, this video has a weird taste from the beginning. So it's just the wind blowing the leaves? No, according to the usual situation in the screening room, even if he plays some pictures without important information, it is just used as a seasoning. It is impossible to use the seasoning as the main course like now. This is definitely not an ordinary life picture. Besides, you have all seen the weird performance at the dinner party. Do you really dare to regard this video as Mr. Vision and Miss Wanda's honeymoon trip or daily life? The next picture became more and more weird. The whole style even turned into a cartoon animation style. Wanda and Vision fly hand in hand in the night sky. Vision gets up from the bed in the morning, puts on slippers, and then floats directly in the air, flies through the wall into the bathroom, and then changes clothes in a second, puts on a suit, and then anthropomorphizes, walks through the floor, and comes to the first floor door. And Wanda is already there waiting for him with a briefcase. Then Vision goes to work, and Wanda goes to the supermarket, to shop like a housewife, except that she directly uses magic to put the things she wants to buy into the shopping cart. Everything is as harmonious as other people. Vision has good interpersonal relationships in the company, but because he can't drink water, when a colleague handed him the water in the water dispenser, he could only splash the water back when his colleague was not paying attention, and then successfully splashed it on the boss, and was scolded by the boss for half an hour. In the evening, the couple ate popcorn and watched TV at home. Everything was so harmonious. But this painting style is the most discordant part. Hey, Stark, what's going on? How should I know? Just think of it as watching a cartoon. I've given up thinking. How about we go ask Wanda and Vision? They seem to be enjoying it. How about we just think of it as a movie theater showing us a cartoon? Okay, stop asking. Just keep watching. I think the theater will give us a suitable answer in the end. I downloaded a game from Steam. I bought Red Alert 3. I'm a complete newbie and don't know anything. I just want to play it. So can anyone tell me where to download Red Alert 2? My child is already upset. It's hard to be computer illiterate. Chapter 215 Beautiful Dream. Image continues on this day. Vision and Wanda are preparing for the talent show. Vision plans to perform magic, and the content of the magic is a classic magic of changing people into living things. However, it is not superpowers and magic, but mechanical props. Wanda is very concerned about this performance, because this talent show is the most important event in the community, and Wanda thinks this is the best way to integrate with everyone. Okay, dear, but don't you worry, that everyone will see that this is fake. What does it matter? A real magic show, all of this is fake. Talent fundraiser is the most important thing. We have an obligation to participate when we live here, and this is also a good opportunity for us to integrate into the lives of normal people. Dear, we have integrated, and we will. Wanda and Vision discussed the details of the talent show, and the funny conversation between the couple also caused bursts of laughter. Fuck. Look at the subtitles. This is too blatant. Is this on demand? Yeah, they deliberately put red subtitles to say that everything is fake. The theater is too crazy this time. Maybe this is the on-demand mode. I think there should be no questions this time. Oh my god. Look at that toy plane. The video continues. After Wanda expressed to Vision the importance of this talent show and fundraising auction, the two were ready to go out, but at this moment, a loud noise came from Wanda's yard. It was a toy plane. A colorful toy plane. Oh, it's just a colorful toy plane. The sudden increase in the volume in the theater scared everyone. God, why didn't you tell me this was a thriller? This statement triggered unanimous agreement from everyone. It seems that this world is not a black and white dimension. Loki said, this thing is totally out of tune with the surroundings. Master, do you think this is going on? It seems that the possibility of a black and white dimension can be ruled out now. This toy plane that suddenly broke in. Strange pondered for a moment and said, maybe, this toy plane flew in from a colorful world. A colorful world? Yes. Strange explained, the multiverse is too big, and I'm not omniscient, so I can only try my best to guess. I personally think that this toy plane flew from a colorful world into this black and white world. There should be a barrier between the two worlds, but this barrier now has problems, allowing objects in the two worlds to touch each other. Maybe, the next plot of Wanda and Vision is that WandaVision in the black and white world discovers this broken barrier, repairs the barrier, and prevents the two worlds from touching each other. But what about the extremely weird inner before? Then we can only understand that this is a world created by someone. Strange's face became even uglier. He said, someone created a black and white world. Wanda and Vision should have been sent into it. Since this world was created, it looks so weird. Maybe this time someone wants to remind Wanda and Vision that this world is fake. Stop. Wake up. But who can have such a strong power to create a small world? That Black Doctor should have no problem, or the power of the 6 infinite gems should be able to do it. At this point, everyone's eyes silently shifted to Thanos. Thanos. Image continues. Wanda picked up the toy plane with a puzzled look on her face just then, and suddenly appeared, scaring Wanda, and the plane in her hand fell back into the flowers and came to invite Wanda to attend the housewives' party. On the way, Ans also told Wanda that the Block Queen here is Dottie and asked Wanda to build a good relationship with Dottie. The meeting was not unexpectedly boring. It was all about trivial matters, and when it was Dottie's turn to speak, she was not only strong-willed and did not allow others to raise opinions, but also talked non-stop. However, Wanda only listened for a short while and then began to daydream and could not listen to Dottie's speech at all. During the period, a very classic scene occurred. When Dottie talked about applause, Wanda was busy eating snacks and did not hear the previous words clearly and followed the applause. When she found that she was the only one applauding, the weird laughter came as expected. Wanda and the woman named Geraldine beside her whispered that they did not listen to what Dottie said at all, and they had no idea what they were doing here. After Dottie finished her stinky and official speech, she also said that everyone could applaud. Ans on the side whispered to Wanda beside her, "To be honest, how can a sober person stand her tricks?" It appeared again. Yeah, the red subtitles. "Wake up, wake up." Peter whispered, "Could it be that all this is just a dream?" Impossible. Logan said, "This is WandaVision. Could it be that this is a dream they both had together? Perhaps this is hinting to us that all this is false." Right. That's right. Wang suddenly seemed to understand at this moment and said, "You don't know, but I've seen in the ancient books of Kamatage that the Scarlet Witch has the power of chaos to distort reality and make the false become true. Maybe all this is just an illusion created by Wanda's spell. I have a more complete idea." Strange continued, "In Wang's illusion theory, we can regard all this as a beautiful dream of Wanda. Wanda created a dream in which WandaVision and Vision are married and live a peaceful life. But dreams cannot exist forever. Dreamers must wake up. All unreasonable places can be regarded as Wanda's subconscious calling her to wake up. But why does she have to do all this? Child, have you forgotten the thing on Vision's forehead?" "Vision's forehead?" Peter said. "Isn't that the Mind Stone?" Peter's words stopped abruptly. He himself is also a smart person. Maybe his emotional intelligence is a little low, or his personality is a little introverted, but his logical analysis ability is not bad. After being influenced by a group of smart people and having enough information, as well as strangers' advice, he instantly connected the cause and effect. Thanos, numb. I'm numb. Very good. I have completely given up playing games. Damn it, Red 3 is all in English, and I can't understand it at all. I played 2 games blindly and was pressed to the ground by a simple human-computer interaction. I still want to think whether cultivation is suitable for me. Chapter 216. Conversations between men are so simple and joyful. Wanda was holding a very boring women's meeting while Vision rushed to the town library to attend a men's meeting. Vision wanted to contribute to the safety of the town. As soon as Vision sat down, he began to ask about the safety issues of the town, such as the rotation of patrol officers, graffiti and dangerous driving. But a man next to Vision's colleague Norman, said that they were just discussing whether the next puff pastry should be raspberry flavored or cheese filled. At this point, a man in charge of food even took out a box and asked Vision if he wanted one. Laughter rang out. "Thank you, no, I don't eat food." Vision refused without hesitation. What kind of food should he eat as a robot? He is not Bender, who has a biological furnace in his body. Sure enough, Vision's words successfully attracted everyone's attention and weird background laughter. "I mean, I don't eat food between meals, but I still have to eat 3 meals. Vision's explanation dispelled everyone's doubts, and then the men started their gossip time. Vision could only listen helplessly. During the period, someone handed Vision a piece of chewing gum. Under the kindness, Vision could only take the chewing gum. Anyway, he didn't have to swallow it. But man proposes, God disposes. When Vision was chewing gum, he was patted by someone next to him, and then he swallowed the gum accidentally. The camera returns to Wanda. Because the previous meeting was full of wandering in the multiverse, Wanda was left by Dottie to clean up the scene. Although Wanda was quite unhappy with Dottie, in order to try to integrate into the lives of ordinary people, Wanda could only listen to Dottie. During this period, Wanda expressed her desire to live in harmony with Dottie, but Dottie said, "I know something about you and your husband." Wanda became nervous when she heard this. Her and Vision's identities can be said to be quite sensitive. I don't know what you are talking about, but I assure you that I have no ill will towards anyone. Alas, Wanda is already admitting that she has a problem in disguise. Strange said to Peter on the side, Peter, remember, when you encounter this situation, don't try to argue, you just don't admit it. Play dumb. No matter how others ask you, you insist that you know nothing. In front of experienced old police, you may keep an expression, but as long as you don't admit it, they can't do anything to you. Although I'm very grateful for teaching me these strange knowledge, but it is useless for me to learn this. Peter had a black line on his face. He is a law-abiding citizen and a helpful neighbor. Why should he learn such strange knowledge? Silly boy, do you really think you can be an ordinary person? Ace patted Peter on the shoulder and said, you are now integrating the light of that Ultraman, and in time, you will definitely become an Ultraman. With your personality, if I say that, after you gain great power, you will not do justice, will you believe it? In our world, when we Ultraman are on Earth, if our identities are exposed, we must leave the Earth. Although there is no kingdom of light in your world, you don't have to leave the Earth after revealing your identity, but once your identity is exposed, you will also be in great trouble. As an Ultraman who has witnessed the evil of human nature, Ace certainly knows what kind of trouble Ultraman's identity will bring to the human body after it is exposed. How can you be so sure that this kid won't become a villain after gaining great power? Loki retorted unconvincedly. Ordinary people who gain great power must satisfy their own desires first, right? But you don't have to feel psychologically burdened. This is a normal phenomenon. It is ridiculous that those with great power are still subject to the so-called laws and justice. What is justice? What is evil? This is a concept established by people. Thanos also interrupted at this moment and said, this is just made up of the concepts of different people. What you should do is to understand your own heart and then follow your heart and do what you want. If you want to be a superhero who maintains the so-called justice, then be it. If you want to conquer the world and be a so-called supervillain, then be it. Do it. Your behavior should follow the thoughts deep in your heart, not the words of others. What does the words of others have to do with you? You must first figure out your goal. Power is your tool, not your master. Your power should be a ladder to help you achieve your ideas, not a rein to lead you by the nose. If you only have power, but don't have the heart to control it, then no matter how strong it is, what's the difference between you and a walking corpse? Thanos said something that everyone could agree with, and even Loki couldn't find a reason to refute it for a while. What do I want to do deep in my heart? Peter was stunned. What did he want to do? You must want to. Shut up. Captain America and Logan covered Loki's mouth on the left and right. The video continues. Wanda and Dot's conversation was very unpleasant. At this moment, the tape recorder on the table suddenly sounded. A noise came out of it. Wanda, who did this to you? Wanda, who made you like this? Wanda's expression changed drastically when she heard this, and the radio was still calling Wanda's name. Wanda. The weird atmosphere was instantly filled, and the terrifying music surrounded them. In the extremely tense situation, Dottie crushed the glass with one hand. The radio also exploded, and Dottie's hand was cut by the glass. Bright red blood flowed out of the wound. Seeing this, Wanda quickly took out a white cloth to bandage Dottie. At this moment, even Wanda and Vision had to admit that there was something wrong with this video. Wanda turned her head and looked behind her. Everyone was discussing something fiercely. After thinking about it, Wanda pulled Vision up and shouted, everyone. What's wrong, Wanda? Everyone spoke in unison, as if they had rehearsed it in advance. After saying this at the same time, everyone looked at each other in horror. This should be a coincidence, right? Question mark? What are you discussing? About how to stabilize the mentality after the sudden increase in power, and how to make Loki shut his mouth. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 217. Although there were some twists and turns in the middle, the fundraising performance was still carried out on time and smoothly. Couples performed on stage one after another. Although the level was average, the audience was very happy. However, Wanda in the backstage seemed extremely anxious because Vision was late. A very sophisticated robot was actually late. This is too unusual. Just when Wanda was extremely anxious, Vision finally came, but there was a little problem with his walking posture. He walked crookedly, as if he was drunk. Not only did he walk like he was drunk, he also talked like a drunk. But Wanda knew that as a robot, Vision had no reason to be drunk, even if he drank water until his machine crashed. Wanda wanted to figure out what happened, but it was already their turn to perform on stage. Wanda had no choice but to bite the bullet and go on. As expected, Vision was full of funny things on the stage. He first walked into the wall, then shouted his own and Wanda's names, and spoke inarticulately, like a drunk. But Vision's performance was still quite successful. Vision first used his superpowers to make himself fly directly, and this scene obviously shocked the residents of Westview. Wanda was dumbfounded when she saw this scene. Didn't she agree not to use superpowers? But the pit dug by her husband, she had to fill it up even if she cried. So Wanda had an idea and directly created something out of thin air and turned into a rope, deliberately revealing the floor for everyone to see. Then Wanda shook the mechanism to move Vision up and down, and Vision was scared and screamed, "Wanda, what's going on? No no no, Wanda, please. Honey, put me down. I want to vomit." Seeing this funny scene, everyone thought it was deliberately designed by the show, and they were immediately amused and laughed. Then Vision staggered to the piano and lifted it up. Looking at the stunned expressions of the audience, Wanda walked to the piano, took the piano, quietly turned the piano into a piece of cardboard, and then showed it to the audience, saying, "The secret of our magic tricks can't be seen by the audience." The owner of the piano, his husband, said, "That's my grandmother's piano. Only one person in the world where the piano was injured reached." Then Vision also performed a trick of passing the hat through the body. Wanda was about to collapse and could only turn into a mirror in the backstage. Although I don't know the function of the mirror, at least it was fooled. The finale was a big trick of changing the living person. Wanda's neighbor Ans asked Vision if he wanted volunteers, such as her husband Rafe. During the performance, as expected, an accident occurred. Before Wanda walked into the cabinet, Vision closed the cabinet door. Wanda really had no choice but to change Geraldine from the backstage. Although the performance was very chaotic, the audience was very happy. The performance was a great success. Wanda and Vision won the Best Comedy Award of the year. Great. The audience on the screen was very happy, but the audience in the screening room was not so happy. No matter who it was, it would be impossible to watch a comedy performance indifferently after watching the extremely weird bloody scene before. That ends. Constantine suddenly thought of something, stood up and said, "There's something wrong with Ans." "What's wrong?" "Didn't you notice that there are so many shots of her? But this doesn't prove that there is something wrong with Ans. Who solves a case like this? Child, you have to know that, after eliminating all the impossibilities, the remaining answer is the correct answer, no matter how bizarre it is." Strange said, "The current situation is that something is wrong with this world. His performance, the colorful planes, and Ans who has appeared frequently since the beginning. None of this makes sense. I now think it is very likely that this black and white world is actually Wanda's dream. Wanda fell into a coma for some reason and had a beautiful dream, and Ottie, the radio, Ans, and the toy plane were actually a means for the outside world to try to wake up the deeply comatose Wanda. Then why did Wanda fall into a coma? Why did she have such a black and white dream after falling into a coma? I think it may have something to do with someone. A titan who did not want to be named. Video continues. Today's event finally ended successfully amid applause. Backstage, Wanda helped Vision find the cause of his illness. It was the chewing gum that was swallowed. After the talent show, the two returned home. It seems that it is not so difficult to have good relations with neighbors. Wanda said happily holding the trophy. "I don't know what we were worried about before. We just need to do our best. But we need to make some changes. It's all for the children." Wanda and Vision said this at the same time. This sentence was like magic. After saying this, Wanda's stomach was like a 10-month pregnancy, and it started to swell. Vision, is this true? It's true, dear, it's true. Wanda and Vision were excited to express their current feelings, and then the loud noise of agreement sounded again. Vision walked out angrily, and at the same time, said that if it was that damn tree again this time, he would uproot it, saw it in 2 pieces, and burn it clean. Oh my god. Are the reproductive systems of Earthlings so random? Now is not the time to be funny. This is definitely not a funny soap opera like WandaVision's Happy Life After Marriage. We can all see it, Tony, we can all see it. Hey, everyone. What is going on? Wanda was also confused, and Vision's brain, which was stronger than a supercomputer at the moment, couldn't figure it out. Okay. Don't panic, Wanda, don't panic. Everyone hurried to Wanda and Vision. This completely illogical thing really had a big impact on a person's worldview. I thought I had seen enough strange things, but I didn't expect to find out today that it was just the tip of the iceberg. Wanda took a deep breath and held Vision's hand tightly. She asked, what's going on? Even if it's blowing up a balloon, it shouldn't be that fast. Chapter 218 One thought, 6 months. I now think that this black and white world is Wanda's dream world. Otherwise, it is the astral world or the dream dimension. Only in the dream dimension and the astral world, where consciousness determines matter, can such strange things happen. Because Wanda wants a child. Wanda is pregnant. Vision, forgive me for offending you. Tell me, do you have a normal human reproductive system? Strange asked. I only know that you are a biochemical robot. Although your thinking is the same as that of normal humans. But, no. Vision said, drive Strange. Although my inner self is the same as that of humans, my body is indeed mechanical, and naturally I don't have a human reproductive system. My body was built by Ultron in order to gain stronger power. It is not necessary to create an additional human reproductive system. In this case, in addition to the dream dimension, perhaps, there is another possibility. Strange said, that is the power of chaos, which has the power of chaos, that can transform the real and the fake into the real. Image continues. Vision walked out of the room angrily, and did not forget to switch himself into human mimicry during the period. Ding ding dang dang ding ding dang dang. Strange music sounded, and a manhole cover on the road began to vibrate. Wanda and Vision looked at the manhole cover carefully. Soon, the manhole cover was pushed, and a person dressed as a beekeeper with a bunch of bees around his body crawled out. Seeing this, Wanda said a word lightly. No, the next second, the whole screen began to crackle like an old black and white TV with a bad signal. Then, just like an old projector rewinding, the crackling and blurry picture began to play backwards, and finally stopped at the time when Wanda found out that she was pregnant. Hiss. The world and the multiverse are really full of wonders. Reverse time. Wanda doesn't have the time stone. It seems that she reversed time in a moment. Maybe, it's because this black and white world is under Wanda's control. Strange said, I can now be completely sure that Wanda definitely created a world by herself. Maybe this world is a dream, or maybe it's something else. The power of chaos is extremely mysterious. If it's Master Ancient One, he might be able to help analyze it, but I don't have much knowledge. Although I have read a lot of books, the books on Kamatage only have a simple overview of the power of chaos, which is related to Sithan, and is a terrifying force that is enough to tear apart the multiverse in its strongest state. Among them, there is one point, that is, the power of chaos has the creative power to turn decay into magic. In other words, we now have a general direction. Tony continued, for some reason, Wanda created a world controlled by her. In this world, Wanda is an absolute true god. Creating life and manipulating time are not a problem. This is too crazy. I'm more inclined to believe that Wanda is dreaming, rather than building a dimensional world. Wang said, if Wanda built a dimensional world, even if it is only a small world, then the implications are extremely terrifying. There is life in this world. A barren lifeless world and a living world are two completely different concepts. Creating life is called God's forbidden zone. So this world is fake. Vision suddenly said at this moment, and the visions that keep appearing are that someone is trying to wake Wanda up and let her end this world, right? That's right. Several people did not expect Vision to answer suddenly. Then what we need to know now is Wanda's motivation for creating this world. Do we still need to guess? Loki moved his position away from Thanos and said, "Isn't this obvious?" Image continues. Vision, is all this true? Yes, dear, all this is true. The two kissed excitedly, and when they separated, Vision's head turned red. To be precise, this is the world that has color. Furniture, walls, Vision's sweater, Wanda. Color appeared in everything. The two kissed again in everything. Wanda, who made you like this? Wanda, Wanda. Listening to the voice calling Wanda, everyone was completely sure of the problem of this world. Why did colors suddenly appear? Bruce Wayne suddenly said, "It's the beekeeper." Yes, it's the beekeeper. This world is full of weirdness and irrationality. Mrs. Hart kept telling Wanda stop. The subtitles marked in red, "All of this is fake and sober," and who appeared frequently and was given close-up shots. Is red blood. The radio calling Wanda's name. The beekeeper crawling out of the sewer. I think the beekeeper should be the agent who was sent in to wake up Wanda. Our biggest problem now is that we don't know the time. Tony said, "We know nothing about that world. If it is after the Infinity War, then Wanda has been sent away by a snap. If it was before that, Vision, it's so confusing." Okay, don't think about it. Aren't you tired of guessing? Logan looked at the group of smart people speechlessly. Please, this is on demand. Even if there are questions this time, we just don't have to answer them. The theater doesn't force us to answer them. Relax, just treat it as watching a movie, okay? People who are too smart will live a tiring life. Image continues. After the world appears in color and Wanda is pregnant, the lives of the two wives become busy. They buy baby clothes and build a crib. Vision also borrows a series of related books from the library. Vision can't understand why Wanda's belly suddenly becomes so big. Vision doesn't grasp the point that the robot makes a human pregnant in this way. Even in Futurama, there are only examples of robots and robots giving birth. During this period, they also made an appointment with a doctor for diagnosis. After a careful examination, the experienced old doctor finally confirmed that Wanda was pregnant and the pregnancy was 4 months. The old doctor also comforted Vision that every prospective new father would feel nervous, and it was nothing. "My nerves are made of steel. Your theory is invalid, doctor." Vision is as straightforward as ever, and his words really cause laughter. After seeing off Dr. Nelson and watching his neighbor cutting the fence with a chainsaw, Vision just returned to the room and saw a scene that he couldn't understand. "Oh my god. Is your belly getting bigger again?" Yes, Wanda's belly is getting bigger now. According to the doctor's previous fruit theory, Wanda should be 6 months pregnant now, and the child should be as big as a papaya. Do you know? Wanda's pregnancy speed reminds me of a picture. Peter's eyes were full of fear. "Mammon is coming, right?" Constantine said what Peter was thinking expressionlessly. The sad update. "How could I have such a dream? Oh, it's not Trigger, not even Ultraman. Do you think I will still watch it?" "Yes, I will." Doge. Chapter 219. 1 day is equivalent to 10 months. Okay, don't scare people. Tony pushed the two people aside and said, "It's too early to end now. Let's continue watching, and don't jump to conclusions." The video continues. Wanda used her superpowers to decorate the baby's room. Suddenly, she felt a fetal movement. Because of her excitement, Wanda turned the butterfly hanger into a real, living butterfly. Wanda and Vision also discussed the name of the child. Vision thought of a few popular names and predicted the due date of the child. The process is not a constant series. If it is a logarithmic curve, Vision dragged his chin and calculated, while Wanda, who was eating snacks, looked at her husband helplessly. "If I want to draw a chart for the development process of the fetus to the present, you haven't calculated it yet," he came out. Vision was suddenly stunned. He said, "He will be born on Friday afternoon. 3 days." Wanda looked unbelievable, but Vision nodded seriously. "Well, it seems I should sit for a while." A few hours later, Wanda was cleaning the kitchen, and suddenly, she felt something strange in her stomach. "Is it a little tight?" Vision quickly flipped through the book. Yes. This is uterine contraction, which usually starts in the 3rd trimester. Vision took the book and read the information about this symptom. Suddenly, Wanda felt more pain. At the same time, the Vision was born, the sewer began to backflow, and the kitchen was like an earthquake, and the light bulb flickered. Vision rushed out after settling down. He had to see how his neighbors were doing. Even if he wanted to be an ordinary person, some of Vision's characteristics still existed. At Dottie's house, Dottie put on a bunch of earrings and asked her husband, "Does she look fat in these earrings?" Dottie's brother trembled and shrank and was about to say something. At the same time, the town lost power and it was pitch black and nothing could be seen. Thank God. Dottie's brother thanked God from the bottom of his heart for saving him from the sea of suffering. A burst of laughter rang out again. It seems like the whole block is out of power. Vision checked around and came back to find that Wanda's belly had become bigger. At this rate, the baby will be born tomorrow afternoon before Friday afternoon. These are just false contractions. God knows what will happen when the real ones come. Wanda said to Vision, "Do you think they know this is my fault? Our neighbors? Yeah, we almost got caught several times." Just then, Vision, who was supposed to comfort Wanda, sat down next to Wanda and said, "I know what you mean, but it's more than that, right? Remember the night the Harts came to our house for dinner? And when I chatted with our neighbor Herbert before, he wasn't in a good state either. I think something is wrong here, Wanda. I know what you mean. The fact is that we are in unknown territory." Vision sat down next to Wanda and said, "I'm anxious too. We just don't know what will happen next." "Hey, wait. Why do I feel like something is wrong?" Peter pointed to the screen and said, "Something's wrong. Why do I feel like this scene has been played out once, and this time it's a different scene? These are 2 different timelines?" Loki suddenly said, "Does this represent 2 timelines with different developments?" This is indeed possible. Of course, we cannot rule out the possibility that Wanda can reverse the time of this world. How is it possible? Loki said with a look of disbelief, "This is an entire world. An entire world. How is it possible for someone to reverse the time of an entire world? Why are you yelling so loudly?" Strange said, "When I was fighting Dormammu, I reversed the time of an entire world more than once. Even if you reverse the time of the entire world at that time, it was with the help of the time stone. This Wanda has nothing. The horror of the power of chaos is far beyond your imagination. I still insist on the timeline. Don't forget, when Kang said that he couldn't see the timeline, a lot of scarlet flashes appeared. Loki insisted on his opinion and tried to convince others to believe his theory. Isn't the magic of the Scarlet Witch this color? I now believe that this world was indeed created by Kang. Kang created this world to trap Wanda, but Wanda has the power of chaos and can control time, so Kang finally got out of control, and Wanda broke free from Kang's restraints, escaped from the illusion he created. Then why did Kang seal Wanda? So it's that simple." Loki said confidently, "Wanda's terrifying power will definitely affect the rule of the Time Management Bureau. As the ruler, Kang will naturally nipple threats in the bud. If I were Kang, I would definitely get rid of Wanda." "Your theory is bullshit. First of all, since we want to solve the threat, why not just get rid of Wanda from the source? Kang has the ability to monitor the entire timeline, so why not solve it from the source? Second, since Wanda has the ability to control time, she can naturally control the time of the small world she created. I didn't say that it was the small world created by Wanda. Wanda said, we don't know if this child is human or synthetic, or both. If he looks like his mother, then the name Billy must be perfect." Wanda and Vision smiled at each other, and suddenly, Wanda's belly grew bigger again. At this time, her belly was almost the same as that of a 10-month pregnancy. "Oh my god, this time it's real." "What?" Vision was so scared that he flew up, his face full of disbelief. "Didn't you say Friday afternoon?" Vision took off all the way, saying as he flew, "I didn't expect that the time intervals between development stages in this development chart were so random." This feeling is probably like the battle between Taskmaster and Deadpool. Taskmaster said confidently, "I have figured out your routine. I can predict your next move. You can't be fucked." Why did you shoot yourself in the head next? Wanda and Vision took a deep breath together. Wanda's contraction reaction gradually stabilized, and Vision successfully floated down. Much better. Yeah. Just then, with a bang sound, it started raining in the house. One of my stupid friend and I made an appointment to hang out tomorrow, and we were going to give each other gifts, but then he said that if the things I bought for him don't arrive tomorrow, he won't come. We are not in the same city. Now I'm very annoyed. What should I do? I'm waiting online. Very urgent. Chapter 220. I also have a brother. Zhao. What's wrong, honey? I think my water broke. Vision ran out to find the doctor. Maybe it was a coincidence that when Vision arrived at the doctor's house, the doctor was repairing his car engine. As luck would have it, the car just broke down. Vision didn't have time to explain to the doctor. He carried the doctor on his back and ran away, leaving the doctor's wife, who was confused, at home. Wanda couldn't hold on any longer. At this time, the neighbor Geraldine came to borrow a bucket and talked to Wanda for a long time. Wanda was about to give birth, and Geraldine helped Wanda give birth like a duck on the shelf. With the efforts of the two, a little boy was successfully born. That's not right, Strange said. A newborn baby doesn't look like this. This baby looks at least 6 months old. You've also studied obstetrics and gynecology. I attended a few classes while studying for my doctorate. Do you think this is important? Tony said speechlessly. This child was born 10 months premature. Is it strange that he was born 6 months old? That makes sense. Wanda looked at the child in her arms happily, and Vision just carried the doctor back. The doctor was wearing vacation clothes, with a question mark on his face, while Vision complained that he had missed the most important moment in his father's career, watching his child being born. Geraldine took the doctor away. She knew that it would be best to leave it to Wanda and Vision at this time. You're great, Wanda. Vision looked at the baby in Wanda's arms happily. Do you want to see your child with your own face? Hearing Wanda's words, Vision saw that there was no one around, so he contacted the human mimicry and looked at the child with his original appearance. He squatted down, carefully apologized to the baby, and said to him, "Hello, little Tommy." At this happy and warm moment, Wanda's stomach reacted again. There is another one. There is another baby. Vision was incredulous, but now they don't have to worry about not being able to use the other name of the child. Wanda. Push. Push. Oh my god. Child, you have to understand that no matter how outrageous things appear in this video, you don't have to be too surprised. Strange said. Now, this video has already rubbed the laws of reality on the ground. In fact, when we entered the screening room, we should have this awareness. That is, the diversity is so great that there is nothing strange. The image continues. Wanda's delivery was successfully completed, and the 4 adults were very happy. Vision sent the doctor out. Thank you for your help, doctor. Vision said sincerely. I hope you can still catch up with your vacation. Oh, yes, my vacation. The doctor said. I think we may not be able to go. This is a small town. You know, it's hard to escape. After saying this meaningful sentence, the doctor left, leaving only Vision with a strange look. It's hard to escape. Vision wanted to go back to the house, but he suddenly noticed that Ans was talking to Hercules. Seems to be talking about Wanda and Geraldine. Vision walked over curiously, wanting to know what they were talking about. Ans told Vision that Geraldine was different. She was a newcomer to the town. She had no husband, no family, and even no home. Vision was a little puzzled. At this time, Hercules said, she came to us. She came to us, because she came to us, because we all what? Vision asked, what do you want to say to me? He wanted to say something, but was interrupted by Ans. Aha. I've said it before, there's something wrong with this Ans. Loki said excitedly, you mortals still don't believe it. See? This is the wisdom of the god of tricksters. Wait a minute, you weren't the first to say that Ans was wrong. Wanda was tangled up. She fell in love with the 2 children at first sight. She knew that she and Vision couldn't have children in reality, but she was still very happy to see that she and Vision had children in another world. However, now these 2 children are fake, and even everything may be fake, which makes Wanda a little difficult to accept. Dear, don't be afraid, I will always be by your side. Vision comforted Wanda beside him and gently held Wanda's bare hand. But what if one day you leave me? Wanda asked, like in Avengers 3, Infinity Snap? I think this world may be a fantasy town created after I lost you. Hearing Wanda's words, the voices of the crowd gradually decreased. Maybe, this world was fake from the beginning. You died at the hands of Thanos, and I was rescued by the Avengers, but I lost you forever. So I created this fantasy town called Westview under the influence of chaos magic. Here, I live with you and have 2 children. Because all this is something I never had in reality. Wanda's emotions gradually became excited. Fortunately, the screening room sealed the chaos power in Wanda's body first, and she is now just an ordinary girl. Vision was a little dumbfounded. There was no way to deal with the situation in front of him in his program. Everyone looked at each other and knew that if Wanda was not coaxed today, once she returned to the real world, the next live broadcast room would have to reduce staff. Because the author has no experience in this area, we will skip this step. Image continues. Wanda looked at the 2 children in the room and couldn't help but think of her brother. I'm also a twin. I once had a brother. His name is Pete. After that, Wanda sang a nursery rhyme to the 2 children. Just then, Geraldine asked, he was killed by Ultron, right? What did you say? Hearing this, Wanda suddenly realized that something was wrong. Geraldine felt that something was wrong and was about to find an excuse to slip away, but Wanda saw the pendant on her chest. What is that? Wanda kept asking about the necklace and asking who she was. When Vision rushed back home, Geraldine had disappeared. Geraldine won't be. Peter looked at Wanda calmly saying that Geraldine had returned home in the screen and didn't dare to say the rest of the words. I'm an idiot. I finally know why no one has joined the reader group. Damn, I turned on the search block. Group number 1,161,933,623. My recent state is really not very good. Today, I had some disagreements with my family about what to do after graduation. I will try to finish Wanda and Vision as soon as possible and then prepare for the next volume. Maybe I'm really not suitable for writing novels. Chapter 221 The Truth About Zyging. That logo is SWORD. Vision looked at the logo on the screen and said, yes, that's the logo of SWORD. Ah. SHIELD and SWRD. These are the 2 spy organizations in our world. Vision said, I used to travel on the internet, and the information on the internet cannot escape my detection. SWORD is also a spy organization, and it also has a large number of superheroes. SWORD is mainly responsible for extraterrestrial affairs, but after the destruction of SHIELD, SWORD also began to take over things on the ground. During the Battle of Wakanda, Director Fury was able to borrow an aircraft carrier, and SWORD also made a great contribution. I think I can help you analyze the timeline. First of all, assume that this story takes place after the Infinity War. Maybe the remaining superheroes brought the people back, but since SHIELD was shattered in the battle with Hydra, some supernatural things were handed over to SWORD. And Wanda. Vision held Wanda's hand, gently stroked Wanda's face and said, after Wanda came back, because of excessive sadness, Wanda created Fantasy Township, but due to the particularity of the power of chaos, this dream world should have affected the outside world, so the agents of SWORD wanted to wake up Wanda, and Geraldine should be the agent sent in. Remember what Anne said. Geraldine has no family, husband, or even home. And Hercules, he was always hesitant to speak. If that's the case, why did Ans want to stop Hercules? It's very simple. Bruce Wayne said, that is Ans, not simple. If the frequent close-up shots before can be understood as Ans being Wanda's neighbor, then now it seems that Ans definitely has her own secrets that cannot be told. Maybe this world was created by Ans in some way. Strange continued. Creating a complete world is extremely difficult, but creating a dream world is much easier. The astral world is a world created by the power of human imagination. It is full of fantasy characters, and may have used the power of the astral world, combined with Wanda's situation, to pull Wanda into the illusion. Originally, the creator of the illusion had absolute control over it, but Wanda is the Scarlet Witch. The power of chaos in her body is the power of the multiverse level god of the underworld, Sithan. This level of power is simply not something that a small astral world can control, so Wanda has the authority of this world in turn. Then why did Ans attack Wanda? Isn't it obvious? The Holy Lord said disdainfully, what else do you humans want to do? You must be coveting the terrifying power of chaos. Just like imprisoning me and wanting to take away my divine power. This mortal must have also set his eyes on the power of chaos. The video continues. Outside a small town called Westview, a blue stripe suddenly appeared in the sky. The next second, a woman flew out of it and slammed heavily on the wasteland outside the town. That person was Geraldine. When Geraldine was thrown out, there were still traces of scarlet magic flow wrapped around his body. A few seconds after Geraldine was thrown out, a large group of armored vehicles and armed helicopters quickly surrounded Geraldine. This place has become the headquarters of the SWORD. Countless SWORD personnel have already surrounded this place, but they dare not enter Westview. 10-minute intermission, 10 minutes later to continue playing. Westview? Seeing this, combined with all the previous information, everyone finally figured out the general process. Westview was originally a normal town. Wanda used the power of chaos for some reason / the power of chaos went out of control. The power of chaos transformed Westview into a fantasy town of Wanda. SWORD discovered the abnormality and sent Geraldine and the Beekeeper and other agents into Westview, trying to wake up Wanda through broadcasting. Geraldine failed to wake up / Wanda was unwilling to wake up, and Geraldine was thrown out by Wanda. Then An's motive is very strange. Yeah, the people from SWORD want to wake up Wanda, so Ans must be on the same side as SWORD. Could it be Hydra? Captain America had a worried look on his face. He was about to have PTSD from Hydra. How could everything that happened be related to Hydra? That's not right. Tony said, we have wiped out all the Hydra. That's not true. Strange said, Wanda has joined the Avengers, but she followed you to hunt down the remnants of Hydra. Hydra's power is probably still there in your world. I personally suggest that you check out SWORD carefully, so that SWORD doesn't become another SHIELD. Wait. Tony suddenly said, do you think Ans is a Hydra lurking in SWORD? Or, behind Ans is a Hydra force lurking in SWORD? Hiss, these guys are endless. Assuming this theory is true, then Ans' behavior can be reasonably explained. Bruce Wayne already has enough understanding of the Hydra organization. This is Desmond III. Ans is an agent sent by Hydra, whose purpose is to steal the power of chaos from Wanda to rule the world. This kind of thing must not be allowed to happen. In fact, it may not be Hydra. Wong said, in our world, in addition to Kamataj, there are still many magical forces, such as Kunlun in the East, and the York Magic Association of Little Britain, which almost doesn't have Northern Ireland, and is not very united with the kingdom, and some scattered magic inheritances, such as there are many scattered witch doctors in Africa, and the ancient Egyptian royal family, that has been passed down from ancient Egypt to this day, or may have died. That Ans may also be a powerful or well-informed witch. A witch who tries to get the power of chaos. Image continues. This time, the camera came to a hospital. In the corridor, that was originally fine, countless dust quickly gathered and turned into a person. It was Geraldine. Geraldine sat on a companion chair on a bed and seemed to be accompanying a patient. But there was no one on the bed next to her. Just when Geraldine was at a loss, a voice for help came from the corridor outside. Geraldine didn't have time to think and rushed out directly. Then, she saw an extremely shocking scene. Countless dust gathered into living people. Chapter 222 Heavenly Sword Bureau. Geraldine wanted to ask the doctor what happened here, but the doctor said he was too busy. Sorry, they are all reappearing. We are too busy. And in the corridor, there are dust condensing into human beings. But Geraldine also had to find someone. She could only find a nurse and asked, excuse me, I'm looking for a patient, Ward 104. But the whole hospital was in chaos, and at this moment, someone called out Geraldine's original name, Manila. Thank God, Dr. Harry. A doctor came over and looked at Manila in shock and said, "Unbelievable. Where have you been?" Manila asked, "I was in the ward the whole time. I might have fallen asleep, but it was only 20 minutes. Dr. Harry, where is my mother?" Dr. Harry looked at Manila and decided that it would be better to suffer a short pain than a long one, so he told her the cruel reality directly. "Your mother is dead, dear." After thinking for a while, it might be too bad to give her an MSL directly. Hearing Dr. Harry's beautiful words, Manila was stunned. She said, "No, no, no, you are wrong. My mother's operation went smoothly. You said yourself that the risk of this operation is extremely low. You were planning to discharge her today." Looking at Manila, whose expression was getting more and more excited, Dr. Harry told her the cancellator occurred. "Okay, stop. My mother is Mariah Rambo. Listen, Manila, Mariah died 3 years ago. And 2 years before Mariah died, you disappeared. This Manila should have disappeared in Thanos' snap." Everyone who already knew about the bad things Thanos had done was too familiar with the scene where Manila appeared before. "Isn't this just the reversed Flash?" Exclamation mark. "I understand. Someone in that universe brought back all the disappeared people by collecting 6 infinite gems again. Did a snap of fingers really destroy half of the creatures in the universe?" When the Holy Lord heard this, red light flashed in his eyes. To be honest, even the 8 demons combined couldn't think of such an idea. Killing people is just a common thing for them. But destroying half of the life in the world? If this thing really happened, the 2 above would be the first to not let them go. But it seems that in another universe, this purple potato monster not only had this idea, but also took action. The most terrifying thing is that he actually succeeded. The Holy Lord was full of greed for the 6 infinite gems at this moment. If this thing fell into his hands, even if he couldn't reach the power in the original world, he could exert 1,000th of it. Moreover, after destroying half of the creatures in the universe, they resurrected those who were destroyed? Exclamation mark. This is even more outrageous. Creation, destruction, and restoration. Which of the 3 creation and restoration is the most difficult? We will not discuss this for now. But destruction is definitely the easiest. So, these people who were destroyed by the snap can still be resurrected. That's great. Yes, since you can destroy people and bring them back, it should be possible. From the timeline, it should have been about 5 years since Thanos played the infinite snap and killed all the people who were killed by the snap, that is, the extinguished people. In other words, the story of WandaVision takes place 5 years after the Infinity War, and by that time, Vision had already died. Strange said, "So where did the Vision of that universe come from?" Originally, we thought that Vision might not have lost the Mind Stone and went to Westview with Wanda, but now it seems wrong. Vision, he should have lost the Mind Stone. Strange wanted to continue, but seeing Wanda's face, he chose to change to a more euphemistic statement. That is to say, Wanda's counterpart, first. No one dared to say anything. Wanda's current mood is very unstable and cannot be stimulated. Is there any way? How about I draw another card to see if I can draw something that can stabilize human emotions? Oh this. TSK, Purple Potato Monster, you are fully responsible for this. Thanos, my counterpart is just fulfilling my great goal. I don't think he did anything wrong. On the contrary, the one who snapped his fingers and brought everyone back was wrong. Just think about it, if half of the life in the universe suddenly increases, how much chaos will there be behind it? Nimmer. Logan couldn't help his temper, and 6 bone claws stretched out from his hands. The source of all this tragedy is caused by you, a bastard. If you don't collect those 6 gems, not to mention the lives of half the universe, even Vision can't die. You are still mixing up concepts, reversing right and wrong, and shirking responsibility? Everything I do is for the universe. Fuck. Logan punched him, but Logan, who had not yet evolved into adamantium claws, could not cause even a scratch to Thanos with his bone claws. However, the two did not fight, and Ace and Hikaru separated the 2 non-human humanoid life forms one by one. Since someone snapped his fingers, who did it? Besides, Thanos has clearly destroyed the Infinity Stones. The break is over, and the video continues to play now. Just like that, everyone continued to watch with a lot of doubts. The video continues. After learning about what happened in the past 5 years, Manila returned to her original workplace. SWD. Manila met her former colleague here, who has been promoted to acting director. It's been 3 weeks, and you're the first to report in, said Director Taylor. I'm not surprised at all, Captain. How are the personnel in the space agency's training program going? Very bad. I lost half of my personnel to Sparkle. The remaining half were also scared. It's completely different now than when you were here, Rambo. The focus of the mission now has shifted from manned spaceflight to robots, nanotechnology, and artificial intelligence. And there are sentient weapons, just like it's written on the door. Space is full of unpredictable threats. Listen, Monica, I know the situation is bad right now. SWRORD is your home. Your mother built it from scratch. You grew up here, and you should have been involved in selecting your successor. Hey, what does that guy mean? Is he going to kick Monica out of SWRORD? Woohoo, 1,600 UN teaching subsidy received. Chapter 223 Daisy Johnson. It's very likely, but this guy shouldn't be so blatant. That's not necessarily true. Monica has been missing for 5 years, and her mother Mariah has been dead for 3 years. Aha. I've said it before, you humans are just a group of creatures who love to fight for power. You all need the guidance of God. Who are you sending it to? The video continues. After a brief exchange, Monica was assigned a task by Director Taylor, which was to cooperate with FBL to investigate the missing population case in Westview Town. Because this case requires the use of SWRD's drone, and the authority to manage drones has always been in Monica's charge, so Taylor gave this matter to Monica. Monica drove to Westview Town, but she asked the surrounding police, and they all said that they didn't know the so-called Westview Town at all. Monica was accompanied by Agent Wu, who said that the witness he was looking for was missing, and when he went to ask the man's family and friends, something strange happened. They didn't remember that person at all. Monica immediately realized that this matter was not simple. Agent Wu had already asked the police about the situation in Westview Town, but they all said that Westview Town did not exist at all, and they were from Eastview Town. The people in the town cannot be contacted at all, and the people outside the town have also selectively forgotten everything related to Westview Town. Captain Rambo, it is not just one person who is missing. This is not a missing population at all, but a whole town is missing. 3892 people. Agent Wu said as he looked at a sign with Westview Town written on it. Why don't you go in and investigate? Because it doesn't want me to go in. You can feel it, right? The two looked at the nearby Westview Town and said, it doesn't want anyone to go in. Monica took out the drone, and at the same time, she asked, why didn't you lose your memory of Westview Town and that person? Or why do we still know Westview Town? Because we are outside a certain range? Or do we have no interpersonal relationship with the people inside? Before the two had a discussion, the drone had problems. It disappeared out of thin air. Monica and Agent Wu walked tentatively towards the direction of Westview Town. When they got closer, they found that there was actually a layer of almost transparent barrier here. What's going on? It looks like some kind of energy field. Monica tentatively touched the energy field with her hand, but the next second, she was sucked in, leaving Agent Wu with a confused look on his face. The case is solved. Yes. The duo of detectives in the screening room looked at each other, and then they talked about the cause of all this. First, Wanda experienced the death of Vision in the Infinity War 5 years ago. Then Wanda was also sent away by a snap of the fingers, and after 5 years, the people in this universe collected the 6 Infinity Stones in some way, and then brought back half of the population that had disappeared for 5 years, including Wanda. Then, because of the great sadness of losing Vision, Wanda lost control of the power of chaos in Westview, and used the power of chaos to create a beautiful fantasy town where she and Vision lived happily. Monica was sent to investigate the situation and mistakenly entered Westview and became Monica inside, while the SWORD agents outside also began to try to wake up Wanda and rescue the residents of Westview. But there are still many doubts. Bruce Wayne said, for example, why did Wanda go to Westview? Or why did Wanda lose control of the power of chaos in Westview? If I remember correctly, Wanda's home is in Sokovia, right? My family has been destroyed in the war. Wanda managed to calm down and then said, my brother Pirate also died at the hands of Ultron, just like Wanda's brother Pirate. Tony was too ashamed to look up when he heard this, so he could only lower his head and listen to Wanda's story. Wanda's parents died indirectly at her hands, and Wanda's brother Pirate was killed by Ultron, which was also indirectly at her hands. Wanda was really open-minded for not killing herself in that world. In that case, you definitely wouldn't go to Westview without a reason. Bruce Wayne said, then your loss of control caused the energy field in Westview, which is very intriguing. Conspiracy. Loki said loudly, this must be a conspiracy. A huge conspiracy. Someone must have deliberately led Wanda to Westview, and then used Vision's information to trigger Wanda's emotional fluctuations. Created the black and white Westview. And that person, in all likelihood, is Ans. Image continues. 24 hours after Monica was sucked in, SWORD dispatched a large number of people and invited the famous astrophysicist, Dr. Daisy Johnson. In addition to Daisy Johnson, the astrophysicist, there are also chemical engineers, artificial intelligence, nuclear energy, biology and other experts. After listening to everyone's introduction, Daisy accurately and indirectly described the current situation. Great. Now SWORD is not only in big trouble, but they don't know what the trouble is, otherwise they wouldn't have called so many people. In the SWORD camp, a group of SWORD agents have put on special protective clothing and started to enter Westview through underground pipes. In the command center, infrared, radar, sound waves, various detection methods, SWORD used all they could, but they still couldn't see anything. Damn it, can't you give me a meaningful picture? Taylor was walking around impatiently, and suddenly, a voice came from the screen. Honey, can you come to the kitchen? Why are they here? What are you wearing? Isn't this our anniversary? What our anniversary? Agent Wu pointed to the screen and said, that is. Looks like her. The picture on the screen was black and white, and the person in the picture was Wanda. I know a lot of crazy things happened on Earth in recent years. Daisy said, but isn't he dead? Not in a flash, but really dead. The she that Daisy was talking about was Vision, who was killed by Thanos in the Battle of Wakanda. Brothers, I caught a cold, and my waist has been hurting. I can only try my best to update. Now I have 3 plasters on my waist, Yanan Bayao. You won't understand this feeling unless you apply them yourself. It's like applying iodine to an open wound. Very, very scary. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 224 Chaos in the Screening Room. Tyler looked at the screen and asked quickly, what is this? Where is it from? From over there. Daisy pointed in the direction of Westview, and then continued to watch Wanda and Vision perform a sitcom. Now the scene where WandaVision and Vision's boss and his wife have dinner together is being played. Is it true? I don't know how to answer that. Did it happen in real time? Was it pre-recorded? Was it fabricated? I don't know. I don't know. I still don't know. My equipment detected a huge amount of cosmic microwave background radiation, which is leftover radiation that can be traced back to the Big Bang. Yeah, it's entangled with a broadcast frequency. Daisy explained. So I asked your men to buy me a lovely old-fashioned TV. I'll plug this thing in and you'll see. There's sound and picture. Are you saying that the universe created a sitcom starring the 2 Avengers? This theory is still being perfected. Seeing this, Taylor stopped arguing with everyone. He quickly assigned tasks to the people around him, and then galloped back to the SWORD headquarters. I think that Taylor is not right. Wanda looked at Taylor, who was in a hurry to return to the headquarters, and suddenly said, he seems to be in a hurry to return to the headquarters of SWORD, as if he was afraid that something would happen in the headquarters. How did you sense it? Intuition. The video continues. Director Taylor returned to SWORD, and now Agent Wu is here to explain the situation to everyone. Everyone calls this acting. The entire Westview is a performance manipulated by Wanda. The actors who play the heart couple have been found, Todd and Sharon Davis. Abhilash Tandon is Vision's colleague Norman. The people who appeared one by one were found to have identities that matched reality, and they were all residents of Westview. Finally, everyone finally found Monica. However, now Monica has no memory of her true identity, and really thinks of herself as Geraldine. Okay, what is this? Lurking? Who is Monica cooperating with? Cooperating with what? Agent Wu said. What is this situation? Another reality? Time travel? Or a ridiculous social experiment? Sitcom. Daisy said, sitcoms from the 1950s. But why? Because I loved watching these sitcoms when I was a child. There are no entertainment programs on TV in Sokovia. My dad used to get pirated DVDs for me and pirate. Those things were smuggled, but they were also my and Pirate's favorite things in our childhood. One of the sources of happiness in our childhood. In the wasteland outside Westview, the First Awakening experiment began. All units ready, the First Awakening experiment begins. So people get ready. Jimmy, Monica is talking to Wanda. She has a better role now. Daisy is in charge of surveillance. What did she say? She likes Wanda's skirt. Laughter rang out. No. This is not Westview. Hearing this laughter, everyone instantly got goosebumps. Could it be that this place has also begun to be affected by Westview? But this place hasn't turned into a sitcom. Maybe it's because Wanda's magic has begun to leak out to the outside world, but the amount is still small now, and it has only slightly affected the outside world. Strange made an analogy. It's like boiling a frog in warm water. The outside environment is transformed little by little. Maybe the impact has already begun when the power of chaos wiped out the influence of nearby people on Westview. Maybe, if Wanda is given enough time and no one cares about her, the entire universe will be affected by Wanda. Impossible. This is too exaggerated. Not exaggerated at all. We know nothing about the power of chaos. We can only get a glimpse of it from some images, but even so, the slightly leaked images are enough for us to realize the horror of the power of chaos, such as before. Strange poked his head and glanced at Wanda. They separated from Wanda again. Now Wanda can't be stimulated anymore. She needs to rest. The current situation is that Strange and others are at the front, while Vision takes Wanda to the back and uses the power of the Mind Stone to calm Wanda's emotions. After making sure that Wanda should not have noticed this, Strange said, for example, before on the battlefield in Wakanda, Wanda used the power of chaos to hold back Thanos, who had 5 Infinity Stones, with one hand, and destroyed the 6th Infinity Stone with the other hand. The Infinity Stones represent the strongest power in the universe, so rounding up, the power of chaos at least has the ability to create the universe. In this case, what is impossible about the entire universe, at least the entire Earth being tampered with? Oh my god. Too outrageous. It's best that my world doesn't have a perverted power like the power of chaos. Logan said with a sad face. I don't want to drink and smoke that day and suddenly go to act in a sitcom. Magneto was thinking, if he had such power, wouldn't it be wonderful to directly modify the entire world into a world where mutants are supreme? The Holy Lord on the side noticed Magneto's eyes. This old monster, whose reputation ranked among the top 10 among the 8 demons, instantly realized that this was a person who could be used. It would be great if we could have a tool to predict this kind of thing. Once a person with superpowers appears, they can be detected immediately, and then we can take appropriate countermeasures, preferably to nip the danger in the bud. I don't think this will work. Captain America suddenly said, this method absolutely won't work. Why? Because in our world, there are people who want to do this. Captain America said with a serious face. They named this plan, Project Insight. And this plan is to use supercomputer big data to infer those who are very likely to commit crimes in the future, and then kill them in advance. What a crappy plan. Logan was the first to curse. I can tell how stupid this plan is with my heels. This plan is indeed a bit extreme, but it still has its merits. Bruce Wayne said, we can list them as key surveillance targets instead of using such extreme methods as direct killing. Come on, don't forget how this thing came to its conclusion. It was calculated by a computer. Logan said, "Isn't this the same as Ultron? That was just an accident. I also have an artificial intelligence butler, Jarvis, who has never made a mistake." Stop, don't mention artificial intelligence to me. I'm allergic to this word. In fact, maybe it's just Ultron who has a problem with his brain. Doesn't Vision look normal to you? Even if there is only a 1 in 10,000 chance, such a dangerous artificial intelligence must not be born. Bruce Wayne added, "It's indeed an exaggeration to calculate crime, but my original intention is to find those humans with superpowers and ensure that they don't pose a threat to social stability." "Are you planning to imprison them?" Magneto suddenly became nervous again. He roared, "Are you planning to imprison them and brainwash them into artificial weapons?" "Of course not. Why do you have such a radical idea?" Bruce Wayne defended, "I just took precautions against them in advance. In my world, there are superpowered criminals. In order to prevent them from endangering society, I can only put them in Arkham Asylum, and then only took one preventive measure against them. In case they pose a threat to society, after escaping from prison. Mental hospital? Isn't this still imprisonment and brainwashing control? No. I want to cure them. Mutants don't need treatment. We are evolving. Evolving towards a higher level of life. No. This is a threat to society. Bullshit. This is clearly the jealousy of the great power you humans have." Magneto was very excited. He subconsciously connected Bruce Wayne in front of him with the person who killed his mother in that ghost place. In addition, the increasing discrimination against mutants in human society over the years made him on the verge of going crazy. What's there to treat? Just kill them and be done with it, right? Loki began his daily operation. He then said to Magneto, "Do you know why you are discriminated against? That's because you woo 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 woo. Who can give me an emoticon of an excited finger pointing at a cat?" Okay, calm down. Pull them apart quickly. Loki, shut up. Stop adding fuel to the fire. Oh my god. Peter looked at the people who were fine just now but now in a mess, and deeply remembered the importance of keeping their identities secret. If this gets announced, who knows how many people like Bruce will come looking for trouble with him. The video continues. Wanda is talking to someone else. Jimmy asked, "There's a radio on the table." Daisy said, "You can now talk to Wanda directly through the channel." Okay. Jimmy picked up the receiver and said, Wanda, can you read it? Over. Did she hear it? Probably not. Keep talking. Wanda, who made you like this? Wanda, can you hear me? I'm here to help you. Wait a minute. New Year's Day is tomorrow. It's going by so fast. Chapter 225. Illusory Beauty, Cruel Reality. The first rescue awakening plan failed. The explorer who was sent in was transformed into a beekeeper, where he met Wanda and Vision. As time went by, the picture on the screen was gradually changing. The 1950s, the 1960s, and now the 1970s. Daisy asked, "Why are the times always changing?" Agent Wu said, "I can't believe that Wanda and Vision actually have a child." While the two chatted, they looked at the characters on the screen, and soon, Wanda gave birth. When she successfully gave birth to a pair of twins, Geraldine, Monica asked, "He was killed by Ultron, right?" The two drama chasers heard this, and looked at each other and asked, "Has this happened before?" Mentioning things in reality. Never. The next second, Geraldine, Monica, on the screen disappeared, leaving only the two drama chasers in front of the screen with faces confused. The two mobilized the surveillance, but found nothing. 1 second Monica was there. The next second she disappeared. Someone is modifying this program. But where is Monica? Someone is modifying the border signal. Warning, the border is being invaded. The drama chasing duo hurried over to check the situation, and at this moment the picture on the screen suddenly changed. Wanda looked at Monica coldly and asked, "Who are you?" "I'm your neighbor, Wanda." "Then how do you know Ultron?" Wanda's voice was indifferent and cold. She said, "You are not my neighbor, nor my friend. You are a stranger. You are an outsider. And now, you are the one who trespassed here." Wanda's hand lit up with a red light, which was the fluctuation of scarlet magic. "I want you to leave here." A ball of chaos energy was shot out, and Monica was directly knocked out of the border of Westview Town. Looking at the broken wall, Wanda thought for a moment, and hurriedly used the power of chaos to repair everything that had been destroyed before. After doing all this, Wanda was also a little dazed. It was not until she heard the baby's cry that she subconsciously walked to the crib. Just then, Vision came in. Wanda turned her head and saw a horrifying scene. The Mind Stone on Vision's forehead was gone. His eyes were white, and his face was red. This was exactly what Vision looked like when Thanos took away the Mind Stone. Wanda was shocked and closed her eyes and took a few deep breaths. Only then did she see the normal Vision. "We don't have to stay here." Vision came over and suddenly said, "We can go anywhere we want." Hearing Vision suddenly say this, Wanda hurriedly replied, "No, no." Seeing Vision's puzzled expression, Wanda looked at him affectionately and replied, "This is our home. Are you sure?" "Don't worry, dear. Everything is under my control." As soon as these words came out, a strong smell of something wrong filled the screening room. It seems that Wanda should have woken up. She should have realized that her current situation is just an illusion she created, but she is unwilling to wake up and insists on continuing this dream. What would you do if you were there? Loki asked. Are you going to break the fantasy of a poor girl? But Wanda must always face reality. We can't let her always be immersed in this beautiful illusion. Even the best illusion is just a dream. Peter said, if we let her continue this dream, who knows what will happen? Who said illusions are fake? This god has the power to make the fake come true. Loki took on old Loki's abilities without any care. Wanda's power of chaos is no less than that of this god. If she is given enough time, it will not be difficult to modify the universe into what she wants. Loki said shamelessly, by then, the previous world will be fake. But besides Wanda, there are more than 3,000 residents of Westview. They are all innocent, and they all have their own lives. Do we want other residents to dream with Wanda? Peter said, what's more, there are other people. They all have their own lives. If it were you, could you accept it? Of course not. Loki said calmly, of course I will not accept being assigned a role by others. I also know what you want to say, but that universe has nothing to do with me. The isotopes in that universe are just isotopes after all. Just like Van Stark said before, it won't hurt if the knife doesn't stab yourself. Since I don't feel any pain, why should I worry? Look, she is so happy now. Do you want to expose this happiness, Peter? Loki's voice seemed to have magic, lingering in Peter's mind. Seeing this, the others were about to step forward to refute, but they heard Peter's sonorous answer. Of course I understand, Wanda. I have also lost the most important people in my life. I know how painful that is, but I can't build my happiness on the suffering of others. So I understand Wanda's behavior, but I can't forgive her. After these words came out, let alone the others, even Loki couldn't help but look up to Peter. They could see that Peter was serious, and it was indeed unusual for him to have such awareness at such a young age. Oh. The Lord floated to Peter's side and asked, what if you experience great pain, and then someone created a perfect world for you, a perfect world without pain and sorrow, would you still destroy it? Peter thought silently for a moment, and finally gritted his teeth and said, that's right. I can't build my happiness on the pain of others. Then, what if this happiness is not only for you? What would you choose? The Lord continued to ask, I mean, everyone has found happiness in this false world. In this world, everyone's pain has disappeared, the lost loved ones have returned, the physical disabilities have disappeared, and all the bad things have disappeared, but these are fake. So would you still destroy this world? Don't worry about whether it is reasonable or not, whether it can be established. I only ask one question, will you go back? The Lord's question stumped everyone. They asked themselves, if there was such a world, could they bear to do it? If Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne had not lost their parents, Captain America had not fallen into the glacier, but married Agent Carter, Logan had not had to flee for many years, Thanos had truly maintained the balance of the universe, Magneto not only had not lost his relatives, but also established an empire of mutants, the true peace of the universe that Ace expected had arrived, would they still be able to do it? Just for that reality? The Lord looked at the people who were silenced by his combo and sneered. At the same time, he had more thoughts in his mind. Maybe, it doesn't need force to rule the world. He once believed that only sufficient force could maintain his rule, but now it seems that if he wants humans not to resist and be obedient, maybe there are better ways besides force. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.